This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
A shower or two, 25 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra Marion have a hydrotherapy pool now on site. Contact Physio Extra Marion or head to physioextra.com.
The hunt for the gunman following yesterday's shooting at Newton came to an end last night with a body located during a search near Gorge Road. There are no suspicious circumstances. The victim, an 81-year-old man, is in a critical but stable condition in hospital. Emergency services were called to Liascos Avenue just after 4 p.m. yesterday. They found the victim with wounds to his arms and legs. The search for the suspect, who was known to the victim, led police to Gorge Road between Bermuda Court and Corkscrew Road around 7:30 last night. The body was found 2 hours later. A man will appear in the Elizabeth Magistrates Court today after a road rage incident at Salisbury Heights. It occurred between two drivers on the Grove Way yesterday. It's alleged one of the drivers produced a handgun. A 32-year-old man from the far north was arrested with a fray and possessing a firearm without a licence. Well, Prince Andrew has reached an out-of-court settlement with Virginia Giuffre, who accused him of sexually assaulting her when she was a teenager. The BBC's Daniela Ralph has the story.
The news of a deal came via court documents filed in New York. They refer to Virginia Giuffre receiving a settlement from Prince Andrew, but the amount has not been made public. The papers also say the Prince intends to make a substantial donation to Virginia Giuffre's charity in support of victims' rights. The documents describe Prince Andrew as never intending to malign Miss Giuffre's character and say he accepts that she suffered as a victim of abuse and due to unfair public attacks. He says he regrets his association with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and commends the bravery of Virginia Giuffre and other survivors.
The Russian president has declared he doesn't want war in Europe as he confirms a partial withdrawal of troops. Vladimir Putin says NATO has failed to address what he calls basic concerns about his nation's security. He says he's prepared to continue diplomatic discussions. NATO says it's seen no sign of soldiers being pulled back just yet. Novak Djokovic has spoken publicly about his deportation from Australia, saying he would rather miss future tennis tournaments than be forced to get a COVID vaccine. The 20-time Grand Slam champion has described his experience during the visa saga as very, very hard, particularly when he was first detained at Melbourne Airport. He's told the BBC he doesn't believe he should be associated with the anti-vax movement, but supports people having freedom to choose what goes into their body.
Because the principles of decision-making on my body are more important than any title or anything else. I'm trying to be in tune with my body as much as I possibly can.
Australian officials have been reviewing data as they investigate a new theory about the fate of flight MH370. It's been prompted by a detailed technical report from a British aerospace engineer suggesting a different flight pattern. Now to FIVEaa Sport, and it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with cricket. Australia secured another series victory with the men's T20 side winning the third of 5 T20s against Sri Lanka. Glenn Maxwell hit 39 from 26 balls to help the Aussies reach Sri Lanka's total of 121 with 6 wickets in hand. The result means the Aussies are 3-0 up in their best-of-5 series with 2 games to play. Meantime, South Australia is back on the bottom of the one-day ladder following a 5-wicket loss against Victoria in its one-dayer at Karen Rolton Oval. To soccer, Adelaide United's up to third on the A-League table following a brilliant come-from-behind 2-1 win against Melbourne City. Mohamed Touré with the winner in the 85th minute. Meantime, the knockout stages of the European Champions League will get underway in the next half hour. Manchester City taking on Sporting CP. Snowboarder Belle Brockhoff has arrived back in Australia days after a nasty crash in the Olympic final landed her in hospital. She finished 4th in Beijing. Brockhoff says she'll spend 2 weeks at home in Melbourne before flying to Europe for the last 2 World Cups.
I cleared testing, which is good. I just have some crazy whiplash now. They were just mainly concerned about my neck. You know, it was just an awkward fall. And I just felt this pain through my neck, and they just wanted to make sure everything was all good.
And Josh Giddey has recorded a third triple-double to help his Oklahoma City Thunder beat the New York Knicks 127-123 in overtime. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Win your slice of paradise. There's 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
A shower or two today and 25, partly cloudy tomorrow 25 and 25 again on Friday. Right now it's 20 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderol Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6:06, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast. Little sprinkle of rain on the way in this morning. There might be some more on the way. We'll catch up with the Weather Bureau in about 40 minutes' time. Vincent McAviney will be on the program just before 7 o'clock. We'll get into this Prince Andrew and Virginia Giuffre settlement that took place overnight. Surprising, both parties had suggested that wasn't something they'd be looking to enter into. Well, they have. We'll tell you what details we've been able to glean with Vincent McAviney. Sean Fuster, speaking of courts, will be on the program after 7:30 to talk about what's been happening in courts here in Adelaide. And then a little bit later in the morning, Assistant Police Commissioner Linda Williams, who is standing in at the moment for the Police Commissioner, Grant Stevens, which I'm trying to... Does it mean is she the emergency commander of the state, David Penberthy?
She's the boss.
She's the boss.
Yeah.
She's running the joint.
Linda Williams. She can do whatever she wants. Wields awesome power. What is it now, 2 years? It will be 2 years next month.
Yep, 2 years.
Amazing. So Prince Andrew, he's coughed up.
He's coughed up. He's made a donation to her charity, but also an undisclosed sum to her privately.
I suppose one of the nice things about being that rich is that even if you've done something that's completely appalling, you can buy your way out of trouble.
Yeah, but it's not like he didn't invent Amazon.
No, that's true.
You know what I mean? Which again...
Well, he didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything.
Which is even worse in a way.
They glean their money effectively from the taxpayer, don't they?
Yeah, and, you know, what passes down the line from their many unelected forebears.
Yeah, I love the Queen. In recent years, big supporter of the Queen. Royal family, most of them are terrific. I think there's something gross about that.
Yeah.
I'll pay my way out of trouble by virtue of my station.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what's happened. And I don't know, I mean, you put yourself in the woman's shoes, you know, a protracted court case.
Yep.
Him armed to the teeth with the best lawyers money can buy. All of the tawdry, you know, specific tactile questions about what did or didn't happen. That inevitably, as these cases pan out, dredge up, you know, dating history, you know, are you much of a drinker, all the usual stuff to make you sound like you're some sort of tart. So, you know, she thought, well, might be able to put my kids through private school, get myself a BMW.
It feels as though he's the one that's come to the party.
Yeah.
My sense is, reading between the lines, it's been his representation that have made an overwhelmingly compelling case to her to settle. Because she's been adamant the whole time. Part of the allure for her has been, this shows that anyone can be brought to justice. If a member of the royal family can have to have their day in court, anyone has to.
Yeah.
So, with that looming, and we spoke about this the other week, he was going to have to take the stand at some point in time. There was going to be opening arguments and all this kind of stuff was going to happen. Feels like they've just said, whatever it takes.
Sue and Christie's Beach on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line says, it's as good as a confession, the gutless creep. I think a lot of people
interpret it that way. Now, you as a former university law student, I'm sure there's...
I passed 2 subjects.
Yeah, that's all right. That's two more than me.
20 others that I failed.
It's 2 more than me. But there must be a first-year module that sort of, you know, goes to a settlement isn't a confession. There'd be some law professor somewhere saying, no...
That's the wrong way to look at it.
There are lots of reasons to enter into a settlement in a private matter. But I reckon Sue's absolutely right. Everyone would feel that way. Everyone would think that.
There's probably a silence clause in it for her.
Yes.
Like that's what's happened. I mean, you know, you've seen it with cases of whistleblowers in workplaces. They get hush money. It's. I don't think it's the start of Prince Andrew's triumphant return to public life either, is it?
Well, listen to, and we'll play a bit of this after 7 o'clock for you, a former US prosecutor talking about it this morning. the question was put to her, so is this the end of the story for Prince Andrew? Because, as you said, there's probably a clause in this agreement whereby no party can talk about it. And she made the point, well, it does, but only with Virginia Giuffre. Now, there might be other people, other cases, people that have had associations with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell that are emboldened by this, or there are things that haven't been tested that might go before the courts in future. You get out of this very one specific instance.
Yeah.
That's all you're paying for. But it doesn't mean the matter and the association with Epstein is totally now over.
Well, you're right. I mean, other women might have a different view.
Totally.
Others may yet emerge. Who knows? Who knows how it will pan out? What about the rain? Is there a word in Japanese for the lightest rain in the world?
It did feel like that.
Because I was walking to the car this morning, and I thought, that's funny. It's got not a drip. It was like that mist that you have in plant shade houses.
It was.
Not even that strong, though.
No.
It was like someone standing 10 metres away with an atomizer got you with one molecule of water.
It was almost like...
But it was steady.
Yeah, it was a little bit dry. It made me wonder, because I think the original forecast is 3 mils of rain this morning, so I just wonder, is the bulk of it the mist that we got this morning, or are we actually going to get anything that's a little bit more substantial?
Don't think so.
We'll find out shortly.
There was talk of up to 3 mil yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still the case, but yeah, it's been a while. Possibly still 3 mil.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like we've got the bulk of that yet. The Weather Bureau in about 30 minutes' time. It's 12 after 6. We'll take you through the news headlines in the morning in just a moment.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
People's personal details are being offered for sale by cyber criminals. How do you know your personal details aren't on the dark web already? Do you know what the dark web is? You can't log on to the dark web and you can't see who's trying to hack your ID. But Norton can. With a Norton 360 premium subscription, you get automatic dark web monitoring. If personal details like bank account info or your home address are detected, you'll get immediate notification and advice on what action to take. With Norton 360 Premium, you also get multiple device protection with a secure VPN, real-time threat protection, smart firewalls, parental controls, SMS protection and more. Buy Norton 360 Premium online or in-store at Harvey Norman from $78.
Check out this great offer at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
If you could punch cancer in the face, would you? What about heart disease, stroke or diabetes? Would you fight them too? Well, we are, and we need your help. By purchasing a ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery, you're supporting more than 50 areas of medical research and joining the fight to find cures and improve care. There's millions and millions to win. Join the fight at homelottery.com.au. Licence M14133. For 38 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip. And right now, Steinborner Automotive Gawler has stocked up with 30 hand-picked 2018-19 ZB Commodores. Choose from a range of factory edition or special black edition with black roof and black wheels. That's 2018 and 19 ZB Commodores from $23,990, all with a balance of factory warranty. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth the trip.
In times of loss, you need Embrace.
Dad passed away suddenly, and we hadn't given any thought to his funeral, but Deanne Edwards from Embrace Funerals truly cared about delivering the perfect funeral to honour him. The husband, the dad, the mate to so many, even the grandkids who he simply adored were involved. And every detail was organised with exceptional care and at a really affordable cost. Embrace Funerals gave us peace of mind.
When funerals need to be perfect, choose Embrace.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Keep on running. Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
15 minutes after 6. Thanks to Christine in Loberthorpe for letting us know they've had a light shower there up in the hills. She says 0.3 mils in the rain gauge this morning, so that's just a tenth of the forecast maximum amount of rain that we could get. Thank you for that, Christine. News headlines on this Wednesday morning. The body of a man wanted in relation to a shooting at Newton has been located in non-suspicious circumstances. Just before 4 p.m. yesterday, a man was shot in the arm and leg at a house in Liascos Avenue. The victim, an 81-year-old man, is in a critical but stable condition in hospital. Just before 7:30 last night, a vehicle believed to have been driven by the suspect was located on Gorge Road. Police closed a section of Gorge Road while they searched for the suspect. The body believed to be the suspect was located deceased near the River Torrens in Athelston a couple of hours later. As we've been speaking about to start the morning, Prince Andrew will not be facing a trial after he reached a hefty settlement with his accuser, Virginia Giuffre, for an undisclosed sum of money. The Prince has always denied having ever met Giuffre, who claims she was trafficked by convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein for sex with the royal more than 2 decades ago. There's an important element of this, and you'll hear some of it when we play the statement a little bit later. He, for the first time, actually acknowledges that he regrets his association with Jeffrey Epstein, which previously was one of the controversial moments of that interview that he did, that disastrous interview. He wouldn't even say, maybe I shouldn't have been knocking around with him.
He was lauding his loyalty to people.
He said he was a useful business, because he does obviously work as the British business envoy, or they've given him some title, and he said Epstein was a good contact to make.
Yeah.
Geez, I'd be stripping him of that one too, frankly, if I was in the British business community.
2 years to come to that realisation.
Yeah.
It's the world's best example ever of a penny dropping in slow motion.
The Russian president has declared he doesn't want war in Europe as he confirms a partial withdrawal of troops. This is promising overnight. We're expecting to hear from Joe Biden sometime in the next couple of hours on this. So we'll get a sense of what US intelligence is saying about how serious the withdrawal is. Vladimir Putin says NATO has failed to address what he calls basic concerns about his nation's security. He says he's prepared to continue diplomatic discussions. NATO, for their part, the Secretary-General came out a few hours ago saying they've seen no sign of soldiers being pulled back just yet.
I was watching the news on the BBC at about 11 o'clock last night, and they were saying that there was one unnamed general, a Russian general, who'd apparently said their exercises in the area were about to conclude.
Yeah.
And that the whole thing had been basically like a training drill, and that they were about to leave. But yeah, have they?
Hopefully. It's the first sign of any form of de-escalation, which would be excellent. More alcohol is flowing into homes than ever before, prompting concerns about the pandemic's effect on our drinking habits. Total alcohol sales in Australia topped $15.9 billion last year, $300 million higher than in 2020. Foundation for Alcohol Research and Education Chief Executive Katerina Georgi says some people have seen an increase in risky drinking in recent years.
The longer that this goes on and the longer that these sustained increased sales go on, the more we're going to see the negative impacts from alcohol filter through our families and communities.
I know a few people have been doing their bit to get the numbers up there.
But isn't... Well, flowing into homes to me feels like a qualification that brought about by virtue of the fact people haven't been able to go out. Is the sum total of 100%. Alcohol consumption gone up? I bet it hasn't. Because guess what? It peaked in 1975. It's been going down ever since. Absolutely. These people need to get another job.
Yeah, exactly. I could not agree more. You look at, about a year ago I spoke to Charlie Melton, the winemaker in the Barossa. Yeah. This was when China had just put the tariffs on. And he made the point that one of the big hits for wineries over the last 2 years has been restaurant sales.
Yeah.
Like, no one was going to restaurants.
That's right.
So no one was ordering wine from restaurants at all. So this sounds like health narcs cherry-picking stats that suit their abstemious sort of wellness/Taliban agenda.
There will be some rain in parts of the state. The Bureau of Meteorology has issued a severe weather warning for parts of the West Coast, Lower Air and Eastern Air Peninsula districts. Localised rainfalls of up to 60 mils are expected in some places. The SES has asked people to reconsider any travel to the area.
Having said that, I would admit that we gave it a bit of a nudge during the hard lockdown.
Oh, and look, you know what? Global pandemic. Yeah, once in 100 years event.
100%. Nicola Spurrier herself... She was asked last year about whether alcohol would be banned, and because remember when that lockdown started, and initially there was confusion about whether bottle shops were going to be included or not.
That's right, yeah.
And I tell you what, I made it to the Goodie Park drive-through in record time that day.
There were lineups. I remember people were concerned.
Yeah. Well, I was watching the press conference live, and I was sitting there at home. I was about to file for the Australian, and thinking this is a pretty big story. And then I said, "Hang on, well, let's just say about the bottle shop." And I thought, "Bugger this." The newspaper can wait another 20 minutes for the story. I'm going to get a slab of beer. And I got there and about 400 other people who had the same thought. But Nicola Spurrier when asked about it, in fact, I think she said on our show, and this isn't a knock on her, said, well, I know that some people say that, alcohol is an unwelcome vice, but, there's also evidence that it helps a lot of people relax.
Yeah.
And at a time like this, I reckon if you've been homeschooling, you've been working from home, you've been on Zoom all day, you get to like 6 o'clock, you got dinner on the table, I reckon you're allowed to celebrate.
That headline to me feels like fast food consumption up as World War III breaks out. It's like, oh, great, okay.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Let us get on top of that one.
Yeah. All forms of human behaviour shift to household during lockdown. It's like George W. Bush's great observation that when you have a lot of people out of work, unemployment inevitably results.
He's right.
Yeah.
Impregnable logic.
Love to hear from you folks. How did all the lockdown affect your drinking habits?
Yeah. Did it get unhealthy, or did it just sort of shift from outside to inside?
We stopped for a while afterwards. I said, let's have a bit of a Sandra Cabot liver cleansing diet type approach at least for the next week.
Beautiful picture of a sunrise from Waikerie. Unfortunately, the person put their name to it, so we can't credit them, but it is magnificent. Someone suggested you've just reached for a flask in the drawer. Now, listen,
there's nothing in this coffee, folks.
There are cameras in this room. People can watch along at any point of the 5AA Facebook live stream if they think there's contraband in the studio. There's not.
No.
It's all above board.
Certainly on the breakfast show.
Exactly right.
Can't speak for other broadcasters, past or present.
No, certainly not past. My God. 22 minutes after 6, 8223 0000 is the number. You can text us to on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line 0448 08 1395.
With continued cases of COVID-19 across South Australia, now's the time to book your booster. Boosters increase your protection against all COVID-19 variants, including Omicron, and they're available 3 months from your second dose. Plus, there are now more clinics and more appointments to choose from. Book your booster at your local GP, pharmacy or SA Health clinic. Book your booster now at covidvaccine.sa.gov.au. A message from the Government of South Australia.
The Edwardstown Mazda sale is on right now, and it's sizzling with massive savings on new, demo and used Mazdas. Plenty of stock is arriving daily, but you'd better hurry, they'll be snapped up. Edwardstown Mazda, 862 South Road, LMVD 207428.
It may not be that exciting to learn that Playford Pavers are one of the few companies that still make their own pavers on site. Riveting, isn't it? But what if I told you that because Playford Pavers make their own pavers for driveways, entertaining areas and pathways, you pay a lot less? How good is that? Pay less at Playford Pavers. Visit playfordpavers.com.au.
Genesis Care and Adelaide Oncology and Haematology have partnered to provide patients with integrated cancer care services, clinical trials and innovative therapies. Cancer patients can now receive integrated cancer care, personalised treatment plans and access to support at all stages of their treatment journey. For more information, please call Genesis Care on 8228 6700. That's 8228 6700.
G'day, Tom Wren here. Greyhounds love to run, and Greyhound fans love Thursday nights at Angle Park. For top greyhound racing, a great family atmosphere and the amazing food, Chase's Restaurant is offering a full a la carte menu to ensure you have a fantastic night out. Chips, wedges, through to classics like burgers, fish and chips, schnitties and steaks. Yum! Grab the whole family and get to the park to watch those dogs go. Every Thursday night at Angle Park Greyhounds.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Spend a night at Fawlty Towers with the world's worst hotelier, Basil Fawlty. Don't miss Fawlty Towers, the dining experience. Book now at fringetix.com.au.
When you want a retractable door screen, you want uninterrupted views and natural ventilation combined with protection from insects. You want Phantom Screens. Our custom-made retractable door screens can be colour matched to your existing decor and span up to 7 metres wide. And they disappear out of sight when not in use. A screen that's there 1 minute, gone the next. From the hills to the coast and everywhere in between, let the fresh air in with Phantom Screens. Get inspired online at phantomscreens.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Baby,
Gliderol Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
25 minutes after 6. Top of 25 expected today. Up to 3 mils of rain, 1 to 3. Based on Christine and Loberthor's rain gauge, we've got a third of that one. So we're, a third of the way to the minimum.
25 a teaspoon.
Exactly right. 25 the top again tomorrow, but probably no rain. 25 on Friday, 26 Saturday, and 23. Wow, that gets cool on Sunday. Let's talk sport. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Fellas, we know there was a lot of talk about Novak Djokovic, the Australian Open, whether or not he was vaccinated, etc. Well, he's gone on the BBC in the last 12 hours or so and basically outlined that he would rather forego future tennis trophies than get vaccinated. Let's have a bit of a listen.
I've always represented and always supported the freedom to choose what you put into your body. And me as an elite professional athlete, I've always carefully reviewed, assessed everything that comes in from the supplements, food, the water that I drink or sports drinks, anything really.
There you go, noted biochemist Novak Djokovic, about to release his peer-reviewed essay for The Lancet. Seriously, that bloke's about as smart as one of his tennis rackets. Hearing him talk about his sort of science-based assessment of everything that goes into his body is the biggest pile of tosh I've ever heard.
Or the whole sort of, freedom fighter element. Okay, fine. If you truly have beliefs about these kind of things, that's great. But then how do you explain turning up to an interview with a journalist when you knew you had COVID? What was their freedom to choose?
Or the kid you were in a photo with.
Yeah. Do they have freedom to choose, or is it just you that has freedom to choose?
See, I got to say, Gandhi, Sister Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, they should all be turning in their graves. The idea that these people can call themselves conscientious objectors is the biggest pile of crap I've ever heard. You're a conscientious objector when you get conscripted to a war in Vietnam that you disagree with on moral grounds, or when some white goon tells you you're not allowed to sit in that part of the canteen or that part of the bus. That's what conscientious objection is. Not because you read something on Facebook.
And it's hard to argue. I know there's a lot of people that probably will back him, but it doesn't look like at this stage he'll play in the French Open. He did go on to say that that's his stance today. He's always educating himself, further, so whether or not he does a backflip.
A life of learning.
I'm not too sure, so we'll wait and see what happens with Novak. But it looks like at this stage he will not be getting vaccinated. One good thing that happened last night from an Adelaide perspective, Well, I'm sure you would have seen this, a fantastic come-from-behind win for Adelaide United. 85th minute, they get the winner against Melbourne City.
Oh, the back pass is short, and Adelaide United have maybe stolen it.
Well, the Harvey Norman replay will show we're getting into the danger time for Melbourne City.
This is just Adelaide United this season. The 80-minute plus, it's winning time all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Melbourne City looked the better side the whole game. I don't know if you saw Harvey Lopez's first goal, which was a cross.
I'm not sure he meant it, but great call there by Simon Hill on 10. But it was, fantastic. You're right, Will. They've done it time and again this season. A late equaliser or a late winner just like that. That's a huge result for them.
Into third now, as I understand, on the A-League ladder as well. And Mo Turo's young legs at the end, they underestimated how fast the bloke was.
Yeah.
It was a routine back pass to the goalkeeper, just to sort of alleviate some pressure. And he's got wheels. And it was just his first touch was just exquisite. So
is the soccer like the SANFL where you can get in at the end for free? Because SANFL generally after three-quarter time, or I think normally halfway through the last quarter, they start letting people in the Oval for free.
Yeah, that's they should do that.
Just with the way the Reds are going, you just rock up, 80-minute mark.
Yeah, they might get 10,000 people turn up at that point.
They used to do that for the Sheffield Shield too, didn't they? The last hour, I think, of the day, or the test.
Yeah, the test. You could go in.
Get in for free in
the
last hour.
Definitely the Shield. That's how they used to get those crowds of, 30 or 40 people. It was massive.
Yeah.
Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Tom.
Right on 6:30. Back shortly.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two and 25 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates and group exercise classes claimable on private health. 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
Police have recovered the body of a man wanted in connection to yesterday's shooting at a house in Newton. There are no suspicious circumstances and a report will now be prepared for the coroner. He was located around 9:30 last night after police cordoned off Gorge Road from Athelston to Montacute. The 81-year-old victim is in a critical but stable condition in hospital after being shot in the arm and leg. Prince Andrew has reached an out-of-court settlement with the woman who accused him of sexually assaulting her when she was a teenager. Nine's Brett McLeod reports.
In the court documents, the Prince made no admission, but said he regrets his association with sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and commends the bravery of Virginia Giuffre and other survivors. He will give her a settlement of an undisclosed amount, as well as make a donation to Ms Giuffre's charity in support of victims' rights. It's a stunning turnaround after the Prince's lawyers demanded a jury trial over her sexual assault allegations against him. If the case had continued, the Duke of York would have faced a deposition next month.
The Queen appeared in good health during several Zoom meetings overnight. Her Majesty held 2 diplomatic audiences via video link from Windsor Castle. There have been concerns following the time she spent with Prince Charles last week before he tested positive for COVID. Novak Djokovic has broken his silence on his deportation from Australia, declaring he'd rather miss out on future trophies than be vaccinated. Nine's Christina Hearn has the story.
In his first interview since being kicked out of Australia, Novak Djokovic has told the BBC he's never been an anti-vaxxer, but believes strongly in an individual's right to choose.
I say that everyone has the right to choose to act or say whatever they feel is appropriate for them.
The world number 1 confirmed he's still not vaccinated against COVID and is willing to pay a high price for his beliefs and miss future Grand Slams like the French and US Open if vaccine mandates are in place. Djokovic's visa was cancelled on the eve of the Australian Open because his presence could spark civil unrest, something he says he was really sad and disappointed about.
Russia's president says NATO has failed to address what he calls basic concerns about his nation's security. After meeting with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, Vladimir Putin says he is prepared to continue diplomatic discussions. But he says Ukraine failed to honour a peace deal to end fighting between the Ukrainian government and Russian-backed separatists in the eastern Donbass region.
As we know, Ukrainian authorities refused to follow through on Minsk agreements and on Norman agreement that was reached later on.
Fossilised remains of an armless dinosaur have been unearthed in Argentina. The rare species is believed to have roamed the planet more than 70 million years ago. Instead of relying on its front limbs, researchers say it used its powerful head and jaws to capture prey. Now turning to 5AA sport, here's my little dinosaur, Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with some cricket. Australia has defeated Sri Lanka by 6 wickets in last night's T20 match in Canberra, led by bowlers Kane Richardson and Ashton Agar. Sri Lanka could only manage 6 for 121 from their 20 overs. Richardson, who was named player of the match, says he's not sure if he'll be chosen for the tour of Pakistan, but he's very keen.
At my age is to try and play as much as I can for this team, so no doubt that'll be a tour I want to get on, and I want to play one-day cricket as well. It's not just T20 cricket. I don't want to be a kind of specialist. I want to try and play as much as I can for Australia.
Not such a good result, though, for South Australia, going down by 5 wickets against Victoria in their one-day clash at Karen Rolton Oval. Let's go to soccer. Adelaide United's up to 3rd on the A-League table following a gutsy 2-1 win against Melbourne City. Red striker Mo Toure with the winner in the 85th minute. To football, Port Adelaide's posted a profit of $4.7 million for last year, a result Chairman David Koch has told Rowie is fantastic.
We're lean and mean financially. We ensured that football continued to be fully funded. Our commercial partners were really supportive, and our members were just absolutely fantastic.
And Aussie Alexei Poprin has gone down in 3 sets to Russia's Roman Safulin at the Marseille Open in France. And that's the 5AA sport.
Thank you, Tomasaurus. Now the 5AA forecast.
Win your slice of paradise. There's 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
25 today and a shower or 2, partly cloudy tomorrow 25, and the same again on Friday. Right now it's 20 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Yeah, running down
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
25 minutes to 7. Still to come this morning. Sean Fuster will join us. We'll go around the courts. We're going to talk about cost of diesel at the moment. We've got a few texts yesterday from people saying it's just gone through the roof. There's a lot of scary noises about petrol price at the moment in the context of what's happening in Europe. Uncertainty there. Inflation is a price factor at the moment. It's driven up the cost of crude. That'll flow through to the pump. So we're going to speak with Mark Borlace from the RAA after 7 o'clock today. I was interested in this, David, the Australian front page this morning. Just wanted to point this out because just, I struggle to get my head around this. I know we're 2 years in, it should be easy, but I can't. So there's this really important delegation from the United States and UK that's coming to Australia to try and assess our ability to run, operate and build nuclear submarines. Kind of big. It'd be the biggest defence procurement project in our history, I imagine, and also the biggest leap forward in capabilities, they being nuclear-powered boats, that we've probably ever undertaken and experienced. This is huge. So here's the people that are coming to Australia. You've got the Admiral James Caldwell, you've got the Director of US Naval Nuclear Propulsion Program, you've got the United Kingdom's Defence Nuclear Organisation Head, you've got the US Coordinator for AUKUS Initiatives. They're coming around, they want to have a look, what have we got, what do we need?
Kick the tyres.
Kick the tyres. What do you, how, and they want to fast track this thing because, uncertain world, need nuclear submarines. This is the government's position. It's very important. One of the big parts, of course, is going to Western Australia to have a look at the base, our base for submarines, HMAS Sterling. They can't go there because there are border restrictions. So they've been denied that. They're not allowed to go to the place where the submarines were based to make an assessment. On the weekend, though, Collingwood West Coast went ahead.
Yeah.
So, keeping people safe. WA.
How is it that the peak National Security Alliance unveiled last year after hushed talks across the Pacific and the Atlantic, our two key allies drawn together under the one mighty umbrella, yet out of an abundance of caution, Mark McGowan's government can say, well, look, yeah, that sounds kind of important. I know there's this whole, Chinese belligerence, rising militarism, South China Sea, possible invasion of Taiwan, growing closeness between Xi and Putin. But, yeah, out of an abundance of caution, we're not going to let you in.
Well, it doesn't reach the standard of importance of an AFL match.
No. Well, I mean, some things are more important than, the possible of nuclear war. And Collingwood West Coast sounds like that ticks that box. It is absurd, isn't it?
Completely.
The contrast between sport and the rest of us has been one of the most galling parts of the pandemic, hasn't it?
It certainly has been. 21 minutes to 7. We're going to speak with the Assistant Police Commissioner Linda Williams today, who's acting in the role of Grant Stevens. He was in the news yesterday, if not for the dispensation of his duties, but because he was the subject of a court case involving a grandfather, Graham Scott Buckmaster, a 65-year-old who was jailed for 2 years in the district court after he left a magistrate feeling concerned for his safety, as is reported in the Advertiser. Here's some of what the court heard that he said. He said, I will attack police and it will be Grant Stevens, not his minions below him. He said that Mr. Stevens will remember me every time he looked in the mirror, alluding to the disfigurement that he aimed to cause to Grant Stevens. Here is the defence lawyer outside the court yesterday on 9 News.
He's got to pay his price to the community and then he'll get back to them. But he's paid a high price for sounding off like a fool.
I don't know how high the price is, actually. He's going to be out of jail in a few months. He got a 2-year sentence, but because he's been in custody, the whole thing's backdated. He's going to be out in June. Now, the one vaguely reassuring thing about that is that he is seeing a psychiatrist and a psychologist, and the defence lawyer says he's getting on top of his behaviour. But I don't know. I mean, imagine being the magistrate who he threatened to attack. Imagine being the police commissioner.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crackpots out there.
This is our justice system struggles to do with preemptive justice, or the idea that early intervention. it's really good at dealing with people who have really done awful things.
Post facto.
But if you're planning on doing awful things, it's sort of, we struggle with it a bit.
Totally. And, there's plenty of examples of people who were well and truly on the radar. One of the worst examples, I should say, is Man Hieronymus.
Yes.
He spent years writing letters to the widows of AFP soldiers saying your husband got what he deserved. And these distraught women contact the cops and they say, oh, well, we'll keep an eye on him. He's just a bit out there. Next thing you know, he's running around the cafe.
Lots of texts coming in on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. 0480081395 is the number on a range of different subject matters.
One here, David on the Facebook live stream says, pretty flippant discussion about alcohol. Maybe chat to some police about the effects of alcohol abuse. Listen, David, I'm sorry if you're upset or offended, living as we do in 2022, the age of taking offence at conversations that you don't necessarily agree with. The only point I was trying to make was that there's a lot of people out there, the overwhelming majority, who can get through the night without glassing each other.
Mm.
I think that's what most people did. That's not to say that in those cases where people can't do that. Like, of course, how many times have we discussed things like coward punching, the role of drugs and alcohol in that? But, okay, so do you want to live in a world where that behaviour informs everybody else's rights to relax with their friends, kick back with their partner?
Yep.
One here from Mark in Larg saying, good morning, boys. Are the golden chestnut drinking habits a subject cherished by not only your, quote, life partner, but now academics that manage to justify their position in the chair by monitoring what we pour down our necks? As for me, have my drinking habits changed during the lockdown? Yes. I now have to sit down, thanks to follow the leader, Mr. Marshall. Mark from Largs Bay. I think Mr. Marshall will say, well, I didn't make that law, somebody else did.
Well, we've probably been putting on more calories because you're not burning them standing up drinking.
That's true. Down. Good to move around.
So where are the heart disease people? They need to come out and say something.
Yes, exactly.
Now, 17 minutes to 7. 8223 is the number as well if you'd like to jump into the conversation this morning. It's time to check traffic thanks to Glenelg BMW. If your BMW is due for a service, receive complimentary vehicle pickup and drop-off at Glenelg BMW.
Good morning, Will. At Renown Park, got a smash on South Road near Torrens Road. Belair, motorcycle crash on Belair Road near Windy Point. Morford Vale, another collision there. That's on Sheriff's Road near Brodie Road. And O'Halloran Hill, asphalt works continue Majors Road near the Southern Expressway. A few cameras around today. Anzac Highway, Karratha Park, Bradley Grove, Mitchell Park and Main South Road at O'Halloran Hill. Drive away in the all-new MG ZS SUV from $22,490. Available for immediate delivery from Hamilton MG, Brighton and Morford Vale. LVD 3600. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Right now, SA Ambulance Service has never been busier.
000 ambulance emergency.
So I was fishing on a boat and the hook is stuck in my nose.
But every day, 000 receives more and more trivial calls.
My husband fell down and he's broken his big toe.
Stopping them from getting to the real emergencies.
I've got a really bad jaw pain from brushing my teeth too hard.
For non-emergencies, visit the Health Direct website and save 000 for when it matters.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive Officer at Western Hospital, Henley Beach. Western is committed to caring for our community. We want to acknowledge all of our staff, nurses, doctors, cleaners, caterers, our wonderful volunteers and our visiting doctors and specialists at Western Hospital. We've worked tirelessly over the last 12 months and beyond to provide a united and dedicated service, and we thank you. If you're seeking an employer who values a trusted, friendly and caring environment, visit westernhospital.com.au.
If you're planning an event, whether it's a small meeting with the latest in reliable technology or a large gala dinner full of glitz and glamour, you'll experience event excellence on every level at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Excellence in understanding your needs and delivering them to exacting standards is what we do. And we don't just aim for excellence, we go beyond. So for your next excellent event, the team is ready and waiting at the Adelaide Convention Centre, the centre of event excellence.
Hi ladies, Heather from Joyreen Fashions.
We are now in the final stage of our summer clearance sale. There are further reductions on summer stock. This includes some half-price special occasion wear. We have some incredibly low prices that you will never see again. Casual day wear through to special occasion in sizes 10 to 24. Come in now and strike while the prices are hot at our summer clearance sale, Joyreen Fashions for mothers and daughters, 491 Port Rush Road, Glenunga.
No one likes to wait, especially if you're waiting for something really amazing, like a new Mazda. Lucky, you won't have to wait too long at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Right now, you'll find new stock and demos right across the range, which means there's no compromise. You'll get everything you want and love in your new Mazda. Get behind the wheel of your dream Mazda sooner. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
14 to 7, Vincent McAviney in London shortly. Let's check in with SAPOL first. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson's on the line. Kylie, good morning to you.
Good morning.
What's the latest on the that shooting at Newton?
Yeah, terrible incident. About 4 o'clock last night, patrols and paramedics were called to Liascos Avenue after reports that an 81-year-old man had been shot at his home. He was treated by paramedics at the scene before being rushed to the Royal Adelaide Hospital, where he remains in a critical but stable condition. So also a woman from the home, she was treated for shock and was taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital. So detectives from Eastern District and Star Group searched the area and some homes but couldn't locate the suspect. About 7:20, they actually found a vehicle they believed had been driven by the suspect on Gorge Road. So that road was closed just around the area while they searched for the suspect. About 9:30, the body of a 19-year-old man believed to be the suspect was located near the River Torrens at Athelston. There are no suspicious circumstances surrounding his death. Police will be preparing a report for the coroner. So the victim was known to the suspect, so extremely sad set of circumstances there, but we do ask anyone with any information about the shooting to please contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Yeah, very sad story all round, Kylie. Also, a bit of mayhem down at my old stomping ground, Christie's, overnight. Some teens arrested.
Oh, that's where you're from, okay.
O'Sullivan's Beach, to be precise, originally.
Lovely. Okay.
Yeah. Update the file. Great.
yeah, that's right. Yep. Good work by Patrol.
Yeah, that's right.
Good work by Patrols, actually, and PD Judge and his handler has led to the arrest of 3 teens who ran from an alleged stolen car at Christie Downs early this morning. So about 12:25, Patrols actually pulled up alongside this car at the intersection of Basil and Humphrey Street, and checks revealed the car had been stolen. When the driver noticed the patrol, they reversed down Genevieve Street. We attempted to stop the car, but the driver refused. So they lost sight of the car and called in PD Judge, and patrols set up cordons. Judge located one of the kids on Flaxmill Road near the railway line. 2 others were located close by. So the car was also found abandoned on Osmond Crescent. It's been towed from the scene. So those 3 boys, aged 14, 15 and 16, have all been charged with illegal use. The 16-year-old's also been charged with numerous other offences. He's been refused bail, but the other 2 have been bailed. So, yeah, good work by Patrols and PD Judge.
They always get their man, those dogs, don't they? They've got a very good strike rate.
They do. It's like you can run, but you can't hide.
Yeah, exactly.
Good on you, Kylie.
Thanks, Kylie.
Senior Constable Kylie Simpson from SAPOL. Let's talk weather. Jenny Horvat on duty at the Weather Bureau. We've had a little bit of rain already, Jenny. When's the bulk of it going to come, do you think?
Yeah, look, we have seen a little bit sort of yesterday evening and overnight, but we're expecting that to slowly intensify during the course of the morning. So having a look at the radar, we've had some quite significant falls actually out in the west so far, with Minnipa picking up 25 millimetres and Woodner 20. So it's coming across York Peninsula at the moment. So just during the morning we will start to see that picking up during the course of the morning and into the afternoon. And we also do have the chance of a thunderstorm from this afternoon as well. So we had our minimum temperature of 19.3 and that happened at 6:08 this morning. Not much warmer at the moment at our West Terrace Nida Pit. Keira site, sitting at 19.9. We are aiming for 25 degrees pretty much across the board for the city, northern suburbs, along the coast, and also up at Mount Barker. Out on the waters, our winds are variable about 10 knots this morning. We will see them shifting south to southwesterly and picking up to 10 to 15 knots during the middle of the day, and winds reaching 15 to 20 knots north of Brighton this evening. This rain will clear off relatively quickly. We could see a little bit of light shower activity on our sort of southern suburbs on Thursday, maximum temperature of 25 degrees, 25 again on Friday, but it should be a dry day, and sun returning on Saturday, 26, a little bit milder on Sunday, 23, and that's how we'll start the next working week, guys.
Good stuff, Jenny. Thanks for that.
Good on you, Jenny. Jenny Horvat, senior forecaster at the Weather Bureau.
Feels like the end of summer, doesn't it?
It's starting to feel that way.
Yeah.
But it feels it's 16th of February?
Yeah, normally we get a few more blasts of heat.
Yeah, 23. That was a blast.
I forgot what a really hot Adelaide day feels like.
When was the last 40? Feels like a long time ago.
I don't even think we've had one this year.
Yeah.
We've had one all summer, I think.
I can tell you what, the weather conditions are very different in London. That's where we're going to be heading after the break. Vincent McAviney is going to join us. He's one of the best explainers going around. Fascinated to hear his report on the bombshell overnight that Prince Andrew has settled out of court with Virginia Giuffre. Huge story. You'll hear all the ins and outs of it with Vincent in just a moment.
Do you own a business? Get a $100 e-gift card plus up to 10% off your first year's premium when you buy Allianz Public Liability Insurance cover online with a new business insurance pack. To claim yours, search Allianz Public Liability and use the promo code GIFT. Offer ends 17th of March 2022. Allianz, behind you for what's ahead. Also available with trades and services or office packs. Eligibility criteria and minimum premiums apply. Before buying, read the PDS. Go to our website for a PDS and TMD.
The Barossa Valley is gorgeous, which is why it makes sense to make the Vine change to retirement living in Barossa Village in Anguston, Tanunda and Nooriutpa. It's the retirement lifestyle you deserve, and your pets too. Yes, your pets are your family, so you should never have to choose between your lifestyle and your beloved animals. Make the Vine change at Barossa Village, under an hour from the city. Find out more at barossavillage.org.
At Lendlease Retirement Living, we create places to live well. That's why our retirement villages are designed with your well-being in mind. From friendly neighbours and social activities to surroundings that inspire an active life, you'll discover the joy of belonging to a community that cares. It's more than just somewhere to live. It's a lifestyle that supports you to thrive. Retirementbylendlease.com.au. Your place to live well.
For 38 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip. And right now, Steinborner Automotive Gawler has stocked up with 30 hand-picked 2018-19 ZB Commodores. Choose from a range of factory edition or special black edition with black roof and black wheels. That's 2018 and 19 ZB Commodores from $23,990, all with the balance of factory warranty. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth the trip.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 to 7, next hour on the program, we'll be talking massive spike in petrol prices. Sean Fuster will join us. We'll go round the courts. Then a little bit later in the morning, Assistant Police Commissioner Linda Williams sitting in for Grant Stevens, not just as Police Commissioner, but of course in his capacity as the Emergency Commander of the state as well. So we'll be chatting with her after 8:30. Let's get to what is, though, the biggest story probably in the world as we wake up this morning. The news today that Prince Andrew has reached an out-of-court settlement with Virginia Giuffre. Vincent McAviney is covering it all in the UK for us. Vincent, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So what do we know at this stage, Vincent? I guess these sorts of legal agreements are often very tightly sort of locked down with confidentiality clauses and so forth. Do you think we're ever going to discover more about the terms of the agreement?
I don't think so. I mean, this came as a complete surprise and a shock that this settlement had been reached. It seems that both parties had been gearing up for a big court battle. There was meant to be a deposition being recorded in the next couple of weeks by Prince Andrew, and then there was going to be a court date later on at some point in the year, and it was going to overshadow the Queen's Platinum Jubilee year, it seems. But now they have reached this agreement. We don't have the full details. There are reports that it might be for as much as £7.5 million in the British press, and that part of it goes to Virginia Giuffre's charity, which works to end sex trafficking and help the victims of it, and part to her, but we don't know what the split is. But it seems like this settlement is an acknowledgement by the Duke of York, not to any particular wrongdoing explicitly with Virginia Giuffre. He's always denied that. But that there was an association that he had that was wrong with the late Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted sex trafficker and paedophile, and that there was harm done in the situation that Virginia Giuffre found herself in with him. So, I mean, it is fairly the legalese of it is fairly strong. And we've been told to expect no more statements from the Duke of York's team or from Buckingham Palace on this matter.
I'm going to say this stirs my latent republicanism, because you can say a lot of things about Prince Andrew, but you can't say that he got to where he is in life through good, honest slog. He's spent his whole life, and love the Queen, nothing but respect for her, but when you look at him, does it fire people up in Britain where this guy's basically lived his entire existence propped up by the public? And effectively, this is sort of almost like a taxpayer-funded hush money scenario, isn't it? Was that harsh?
Well, I mean, we don't know that it. I mean, we don't know where the money will have come from. It could have come from the Queen funding him through her own private estate, but he also sold a property that he had recently, a ski lodge, so it could have come from that. So it's not clear that the taxpayer is directly funding it. I think that they are wise enough to know that that shouldn't have been the case. But yeah, it has done irreparable damage to the royal family. A lot of the other members of the royal family have been it's reported with dismay over his handling of this. He seems to have taken all the wrong advice. As someone myself who reported in London for 10 years, anyone that I've ever spoken to that's had any kind of dealings with the Duke of York, because for a time he was a sort of roving trade envoy for the Foreign Office, and I've done royal coverage as well. I mean, I've never met anyone that's had a good word to say about him. The arrogance is legendary, and so there is not much sympathy in the British public for the situation that he got himself in. That Newsnight interview, it was an unforced error. He didn't have to give it, but he gave the interview. And it was just, I watched it again recently, and just to sort of see, is it as bad as we all remember? My God, it's worse. It is just tone deaf, and you think this person doesn't have any sense at all. So I think there's, a lot of anger tonight at the way that he's damaged, the royal family. But as you say, his mother has had a difficult few years between the pandemic, losing her husband. She's had to endure all of this sordid detail about her son's connection to this person who was a wrong-un.
Great assessment of it all.
Vincent, appreciate your time, mate. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Vincent McAviney, our UK correspondent.
What a wonderful turn of phrase. That interview, I actually watched the entire thing. I generally don't go deep into those things. I was sort of, you watch the sort of highlights and you see them in the news bulletins and so on, but there was something so totally compelling about it, and I think it was because it combined peak stupidity with peak confidence.
Yes, yeah, it was a perfect marriage.
Yeah, it was like, don't worry, I've got this.
Yeah.
Well,
the fact that one of the biggest news points to come out of the settlement in his public statement is that he regrets his association with Jeffrey Epstein. Because previously, in that interview, he'd said, well, no, he was actually quite a useful contact.
Yeah. And
that speaks volumes.
And not a bad guy.
Yeah, that's right. Given everything that he'd learnt and everything he was made aware of, at that point, he couldn't even say, no, I shouldn't. Extraordinary. You wonder where it goes from here. Certainly in the case of this specific angle, it's over, but the Epstein case you feel like we're going to be speaking about for more years.
I still reckon even if he sold his ski lodge, how did he buy the ski lodge in the first place? Where does his wealth come from?
Yeah.
I remember I got a text from someone saying he flew combat missions during the Falklands War. Well, yeah, okay, maybe Maybe just saved up on his soldiers' wages.
7.5 million. Just knocking around. Sloshing around.
I tell you what, I didn't know the army paid that well.
7 o'clock, 5AA News on the way. Back with more in a moment.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two and 25 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra Marion have a hydrotherapy pool now on site. Contact Physio Extra Marion or head to physioextra.com.
The victim of yesterday's shooting at Newton, an 81-year-old man, remains in a critical but stable condition in hospital. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says the hunt for the suspect spanned several suburbs.
About 7:20, they actually found a vehicle they believed had been driven by the suspect on Gorge Road. So that road was closed just around the area while they searched for the suspect. About 9:30, the body of a 19-year-old man, believed to be the suspect, was located near the River Torrens at Athelston.
A report will be prepared for the coroner. There's talk the out-of-court financial settlement involving Prince Andrew and that civil sexual assault case brought against him by Virginia Giuffre is worth up to $10 million. UK correspondent Vincent McAviney has told David and Will it's a stunning turn of events.
This came as a complete surprise and a shock that this settlement had been reached. It seems that both parties had been gearing up for a big court battle. There was meant to be a deposition being recorded in the next couple of weeks by Prince Andrew, and then there was going to be a court date later on at some point in the year, and it was going to overshadow the Queen's Platinum Jubilee year.
Workers and their employers have different ideas about the benefits of working from home, according to a new study. Nine's Madeline McNeil explains.
Almost 3 in 5 employees who took part in the survey believe they're more productive when working remotely. 2/3 of managers disagree, saying there was no difference whether staff were at home or in the office. The results also differ when it comes to the health impacts. The vast majority of workers say they didn't experience any adverse effects while working from home, but more than half of managers said they noticed negative or psychological effects on their staff.
Russia could extend Alexei Navalny's imprisonment for another 15 years in a fresh criminal trial. The Russian opposition leader is accused of embezzling donations to his anti-corruption organisation. Navalny has denied the charges, calling them politically motivated. The British Prime Minister says there are mixed signals from Russia as the world waits to see what's next for Ukraine. Moscow is promising to withdraw some troops from the border in a sign of possible de-escalation. But Western leaders say there are no signs of the withdrawal just yet. Boris Johnson is keeping a close eye on the situation.
We think there is an avenue for diplomacy. We've seen some positive signs. On the other hand, the intelligence that we're seeing today is still not encouraging.
For the first time in the United States, a gun manufacturer has been held liable for a mass shooting on American soil. Remington Arms has agreed to pay $73 million to the families of victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre. The BBC's Anthony Zerker is in Washington.
The families who reached the settlement had alleged that Remington irresponsibly marketed its weapons to men such as the Sandy Hook killer through placement in violent video games. Remington had attempted to avoid liability by claiming immunity under federal law, but in 2019 the U.S. Supreme Court allowed the case to proceed. Last year, Remington offered $33 million to settle the lawsuit, a sum the family said was well short of the $225 million they estimated Remington should owe. The company has previously filed for bankruptcy following a sharp decline in sales.
Now turning to 5AA Sport, and here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Cricket first, and Australia has taken an unbeatable 3-0 lead in its best of 5 T20 series against Sri Lanka. That's after winning Game 3 by 6 wickets in Canberra last night. Chasing 122 to win, the Aussies did it easily with 19 balls to spare. Kane Richardson awarded man of the match for his effort of 3 for 21 from his 4 overs. Domestically, the Redbacks are back on the bottom of the one-day ladder following a 5-wicket loss against Victoria. Chasing 260 to win, the Bushrangers chased down the target with 26 balls to spare, thanks largely to an unbeaten century from Marcus Harris, who also brought up the winning runs.
Comes down the track, goes down the ground, hits the boundary, brings up a century on the last delivery to win for Victoria. A magnificent 100 for Marcus Harris.
To soccer, Adelaide United has jumped up to third on the A-League table following a come-from-behind 2-1 win against Melbourne City. Harvey Lopez equalised for the Reds before Mohamed Toure found the winner in the 85th minute. Meantime, the knockout stages of the European Champions League are underway, with Manchester City making a great start in its clash against Sporting Lisbon, currently leading 2-0 about half hour in. One other game is on at the moment, and it's still 0-0 between Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid. And Australian basketball star Ben Simmons says he's looking forward to getting back on the court with his new team, the Brooklyn Nets. Simmons says he wasn't mentally fit enough to play whilst in Philadelphia. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
A new and independent home for BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Visit Glenelg BMW today.
At Belair, look out for a motorcycle crash, Belair Road near Windy Point. Montford Vale got a smash on Sheriff's Road near Brodie Road. Modbury telecommunication works on North East Road near Smart Road continue. And O'Halloran Hill, look out for Ashford Works Majors Road near the Southern Expressway. Cameras today, Main South Road, O'Halloran Hill, Unley Road, Malvern and Stonehouse Avenue at Camden Park. Want free delivery? Shop amazon.com.au. Browse millions of items and receive free delivery on eligible orders over $39. Amazon.com.au. Easy as. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Win your slice of paradise. There's 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
25 today with a shower or two. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 25. The same again on Friday. Right now it's 20 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderol Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 after 6, good morning to you. If you're joining us for the first time on this Wednesday, the 16th of February, Sean Fuster coming up shortly. Assistant Police Commissioner Linda Williams a little bit later in the morning. We're going to talk petrol as well in the next 15 or 20 minutes. Diesel price gone through the roof. Petrol right across the country, and indeed the world's going up on the basis of a couple of things. Speculation about the potential for war in Ukraine, which we've got some news for you on at the moment. The US President Joe Biden's just taken to his feet to talk about the reports about a potential Russian withdrawal, but also inflation's a factor there, so we're going to get to that for you in a moment. You're holding up a something bizarre.
I'd like to thank listener Kerry Hancock. On your Kezo, this is so generous. Remember the other day we were talking about the University of Adelaide study about the consumption of insects?
Yes.
And how they're trying to get adventurous food enthusiasts to try different bugs and write sort of almost, Nick Ryan, James Halliday style tasting notes about the various flavours of the bugs. Well, Kerry has very kindly sent in a Mexican lollipop that's got a dead worm encased in it.
Excellent.
So good on you, Kerry. I'll have a crack at that later on. Don't think I'll do it on the air. Might be a bit hard to talk. Bit gross.
Don't ever do that again.
All right, I promise I won't. You've got a thing, haven't you? Don't you get upset by the sound of people eating?
I can't do mouth noises upset me. Loud eating, I can't handle it.
Yeah, it is pretty gross, isn't it?
Just
people who talk with their mouth full, it's bad, isn't it? So what you're saying, well, you don't want me to have a crack at this?
Yeah, I'm trying to move on really quickly.
Misophonia.
Misophonia. Misophonia. Is that to do with the noise, the disliking the sound?
Phonia from sound and miso from Japanese soup.
Misophonia. Yeah, that's right. You don't like the sound of people slurping their soup. Makes perfect sense. We've spoken with Vincent McAviney in the UK about the settlement, the Virginia Giuffre and Prince Andrew case. Here's what we haven't done for you so far is let you hear the words of his statement. So here it is as it was being discussed on Sky News this morning.
A document to the US court by David Boies, Ms Giuffre's lawyer, but submitted jointly with Prince Andrew's lawyer, says this. Prince Andrew intends to make a substantial donation to Ms Giuffre's charity in support of victims' rights. Prince Andrew has never intended to malign Ms Giuffre's character, and he accepts that she has suffered both as an established victim of abuse and as a result of unfair public attacks. Prince Andrew regrets his association with Epstein and commends the bravery of Ms. Giuffre and other survivors in standing up for themselves and for others. He pledges to demonstrate his regret for his association with Epstein by supporting the fight against the evils of sex trafficking and by supporting its victims.
Two British newspapers with easily the closest contacts within Buckingham Palace, the Daily Mail and the Sun, have both reported in the last hour or so that both the Queen and Charles played a role in this, and the Sun has got a former Royal Protection Officer on the record saying that the view within the family was, you just got to make this go away. We're not going to have this hanging over the Queen's head for her Jubilee celebrations.
Geez, it would have been good if they did it before.
Yeah.
The big festivities of just the last weekend.
Yes, yeah. But Charles in particular apparently was of the view that, listen, mate, this has gone on far too long. We've just got to fix it.
I reckon that the really disappointing thing about this is that as this goes on, this whole Epstein-related story, he's no longer with us. The Prince Andrew element that was incredibly public has had a massive out-of-court settlement. Does it feel like we're ever going to get any sort of a sense of justice on this story? Are we going to learn what actually went on?
Well, Ghislaine Maxwell perhaps might shed some light on it, but you know the extent to which this involved people, other people of note, most of all I'd say Bill Clinton, Donald Trump.
Yep.
You know they were down there.
Feels like there's a lot of unanswered questions, but the trajectory of the whole affair is that those questions aren't going to be answered publicly.
Yeah, all the secrets get taken to the grave.
All right, news out of the United States. The US President Joe Biden, literally whilst we have been speaking, in fact, he's still on his feet talking at the moment, about reports that came out of Russia overnight that some of the troops that were stationed on the border with Ukraine would return to their base after completing recent drills. Here is Vladimir Putin talking about wanting to avoid any sort of conflict.
Do we want it? War or not? Of course not. That is why we have offered our proposals to start the negotiation process, which should lead to an agreement of providing equal security for everybody, including our country.
The Secretary General of NATO was sceptical that troops were in fact on the move.
So far, we have not seen any de-escalation on the ground.
And people have asked the question, what does returning to base mean? Where are these bases? Is it happening? I think everyone's hopeful, but they want to see some evidence. So here's what Joe Biden has said in the last 5 minutes on the basis of US intelligence.
From the beginning of this crisis, I have been absolutely clear and consistent. The United States is prepared no matter what happens. We are ready with diplomacy to be engaged in diplomacy with Russia and our allies and partners to improve stability and security in Europe as a whole. And we are ready to respond decisively to Russian attack on Ukraine, which is still very much a possibility. For all the events of the last few weeks and months, this has been our approach, and it remains our approach now. So today I want to speak to the American people about the situation on the ground, the steps we've taken, the actions we're prepared to take, and what's at stake for us and the world. For weeks now, together with our allies and partners, my administration has engaged in non-stop diplomacy. This weekend, I spoke again with President Putin to make clear that we are ready to keep pursuing high-level diplomacy, to reach written understandings among Russia, the United States, and the nations of Europe to address legitimate security concerns, if that's his wish.
He goes on to say that there are more than 150,000 soldiers at the border and that attack on Ukraine is still very much a possibility. They have yet to confirm that there have been troops withdrawing, but you'd have to be hopeful given even the language. Those are the reports that came from Moscow that they were withdrawing, and then you had Putin with a more conciliatory tone. You'd like to he's not in the business of wanting to appear weak,
no,
Vladimir Putin.
No.
So I'm inclined to believe that there is something of a de-escalation.
Yeah, you'd hope so. And that the whole thing was all about putting the wind up Ukraine to say, listen, if you go down this path to joining NATO...
Yeah, we're deadly serious. As we've said from the start, it's very easy for us on our side to say, oh, this is just crazy Vladimir Putin, crazy Russia. But from their perspective, they think the West are the aggressors. They think this is their Cuban Missile Crisis
by
moment.
Expanding NATO.
That's right. By suddenly putting US troops and bases and missiles and things from Western Europe and the United States in against their border. So they're saying, look, You forced us to do this.
Given Russia's history, though, of expansionism, just walking into all those countries that everyone knows about, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, all of the Baltic states, the whole Ukraine region being under Soviet rule from 1917 onwards, or whenever it was. Well, that was the end of the Russian Revolution, wasn't it? The West can say, we're not going to attack you. We're just saying this is where your borders stop.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like a Russian apologist here, because trust me, I'm no fan of how they've conducted themselves post World War II. Well, in fact, frankly, from the start of World War II. But that's another story. But they would say we've been invaded twice in the last 100 years. We weren't the aggressors. We were invaded twice by Germany in the last 100 years. So,
yeah,
we've got very recent evidence that suggests we need to be proactive in our defence. That's their that would be the perspective of a lot of strategic policymakers in Russia.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, is good news today. Hopefully it's some good news.
Yes.
Novak Djokovic spoke on the BBC with his first lengthy interview since he was deported from Australia, and it doesn't sound like he's backing down. Certainly the reports from his biographer that he got the jab have proven to be incorrect.
Why? Because the principles of decision-making on my body are more important than any title or anything else. I'm trying to be in tune with my body as much as I possibly can.
So can't play Australian Open at the moment, can't play the French Open, faces now the very real prospect that he will not become the greatest Open winner, the greatest major winner in tennis history, which he seemed a Monty to do as recently as December last year. I wonder what it means long term, because I wonder, and that's exposed to a larger question, I wonder what it means when do vaccine mandates end at some point in time?
Well, yeah.
Presumably they would, I would think.
So this is where it feels like a completely unfair situation where the imposition has been on everyone who did the right thing. So overwhelmingly, 9 out of 10 people in our country, and getting towards that number in a lot of other countries, although notably not his home country of Serbia, where the vaccination rate is really low, because he's easily the biggest celebrity in the country and he's had huge sway as a role model in terms of influencing people's behaviour. But the idea that, now that this is all quiet down, I'm still not going to get vaccinated, really is the ultimate conceit, when we've all been utterly smashed financially through the tax system and will be for years to come, paying for this huge effort that's in so many cases completely unnecessarily smashed our hospital system with people who shouldn't be sick and shouldn't be dead. And now it's like, it's like the cops saying maybe we can come back to work now. It's like, well, no. No, sorry, that's not the way it works. We're all meant to be in this together.
17 minutes after 7, time to check traffic, thanks to Glenelg BMW, a new and independent home for BMW, now open on Brighton Road, and you can visit Glenelg BMW today.
Thanks, Will. At Belair, got a motorcycle crash on Belair Road near Windy Point. That may cause a few dramas on the drive-in today, so be aware of that one. Morford Vale, got another collision. This one's on Sheriff's Road near Brodie Road. At Modbury, telecommunication works on North East Road near Smart Road is slowing things up. Cameras today, Doothie Street, Malvern, Everard Avenue at Keswick. Book online now at mycar.com.au and get $100 off your next logbook service. Plus, you'll get 12 months free roadside assistance. T's and C's apply. Offer ends February 28th. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Afternoons with Jade Robran.
School hours. They could face big changes under a Labor government. They say they want to bring schooling into the 21st century. Shadow Education Minister Blair Boyer.
I certainly have an insight into how hard the juggle is for families with young kids in particular.
Jade Robran.
What's the solution, do you think?
Perhaps offer a different start and finish time. We want the out of school hours care options to be available everywhere.
Weekday afternoons from 1:30 on 1395. Adelaide's 5AA.
You don't always have to be in a physical hospital to receive the care you need. My Home Hospital brings hospital-level care straight to you in the comfort of your own home. My Home Hospital is a wellbeing SA service available at no charge to eligible public patients anytime, day and night across the metropolitan Adelaide area, Gawler and Mount Barker regions and their surrounds. To find out if you're eligible, talk to your doctor today or visit myhomehospital.sa.gov.au.
This message brought to you by the Government of South Australia.
Hey, it's Callum here. Family safety is everything to the team at Edwards Soundmaster, especially on the roads. So if your car, any make or model, is due for a service, take it to Edwards Soundmaster. One service centre for the whole family.
It's gotta be.
Good schnitzels are everywhere, but it's hard to find a schnitzel so big, crunchy and tasty. Survivors have warned, whatever you do, don't eat the day before. St Kilda Beach Hotel schnitzels are cut by the resident butcher. They're rolled in the crispiest crumbs, then deep fried to perfection, all in-house. Take the kids to St Kilda Playground, then cross the road to the St Kilda Hotel for the schnitzel of a lifetime. There's a table waiting for you at the St Kilda Beach Hotel.
Our public health system is under more strain than ever, and it's not just from COVID. Hospital capacity must be increased urgently, supported by safe staffing levels that are legally enforceable. The Marshall Liberal government have refused to commit to these actions, while Labor has committed to boost capacity in order to free up our emergency departments and end ramping. When you vote, make sure that you act to protect and boost our healthcare system. Authorised by Elizabeth DeBars for the Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation, SA Branch Adelaide.
Anyone, at any time, can become a carer to a family member or friend. If you help your elderly parent with day-to-day tasks, if you look after someone with a mental illness or chronic health issues, if you care for a child with learning or social support needs, or if you take a friend or partner to their regular medical appointments, you might be a carer. We're here for you. We're Carers SA, the lead carer gateway service provider in South Australia. Register now for free support services.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
21 after 7. We were speaking yesterday, started getting a few texts from tradies and people wanting to talk about the price of diesel. It's gone through the roof. And we have Fuel Watch after 8 o'clock each day where we give you best prices on unleaded, but obviously diesel prices are a byproduct of what's going on with the price of oil per barrel, which has been creeping up to near $100, and that spells expensive for everyone on our roads. Mark Borlays is an expert in these matters from the RAA and joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Mark, good morning to you.
Morning, guys.
So, Mark, I've got to say, a mate of mine runs a trucking business, self-employed, does a lot of deliveries all over town, and he was saying to me the other day that he is just getting smashed at the moment with the cost of diesel. Historically, it's always been a bit cheaper too than unleaded, hasn't it?
Yeah, look, it's a funny fuel in the sense that what people probably don't understand is we actually sell twice as much diesel as petrol in Australia.
Yeah.
So it's the dominant fuel, and normally the price is quite stable, but doesn't have a price cycle like petrol. Normally it's quite stable, and the reason it's stable is because probably companies like your friends lock in some sort of contract with a supplier to have a contract price that rises and falls with prices like crude, so they don't get the sharp spikes that people are using petrol do, but they are at the whim of the market still. And what we've seen is, if you look back just to chart crude over the last 2 years, prior to COVID, around about $70 US. Middle of COVID, nobody's flying, nobody's driving. It's down to $20 a barrel. They couldn't give it away. And now, as you said, it's just crept over $100 a barrel, and our dollar's a bit weaker too. So that's the other thing that compounds it. And the cause of it simply is Russia. Russia is both a big oil producer. It produces about 10% of the world's oil, and it often works with the OPEC countries to try and control price. And secondly, it's got potential for a war on its doorstep, and everybody in Europe is kind of squirreling reserves away in case they can't get it from Russia or it becomes a problem. And that's that demand has outstripped supply right now and driven the price up internationally, and we're wearing that here.
Setting aside people who rely on diesel for work, like trucking and so forth, this would have become more of an issue, I'm guessing here, correct me if I'm wrong, but are there more diesel-fueled passenger cars being sold now than there were previously?
There has been. It's peaked. You find now it's peaked and troughed, peaked and plateaued, because what's happened is one of the advantages that diesel used to have, it had a lot of torque, a lot of power, and it was fairly fuel efficient. Petrol engine technology has kind of caught up with it over the last decade or two. So that's plateaued. Plus, you've also got the slow introduction of EVs into that, and some of those will replace the small diesel engines, the little passenger cars that have got it. But, they can still shop around. You've still got some movement in the market, If you look out there, there's still up to sort of 10 cents difference in the market. And if you're using a fuel app, you'll at least be able to see where that is. So you can still shop around for diesel. As I say, it doesn't have the price cycle, but it still has different prices in the market. So look before you buy.
Great info, Mark. Mark Borlase from the RAA, always helpful, the RAA, with stuff to get you from A to B. Great stuff, mate. Thanks for coming on.
No, thanks for your interest, mate. Take care.
I think I mentioned yesterday, I noticed the difference in reverse going from a Hilux to a Kluger. The one thing that I'm happy with about that decision is that the petrol's cheaper.
Yeah, I bet. 25 minutes after 7. Tom Wrench just wandered in and said that we're getting some proper rain out there at the moment. Earlier on, we talked about there was, something akin to a gentle mist.
I know it still is, apparently.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's more misty than
it's
rainy.
Like walking through the shade house.
Yeah, okay. It's shade house rain. Christine mentioned earlier that she had about 1/3 of a mil in her gauge at Lobethal. What's the latest reading? My very helpful Rain Parrot app.
Rain Parrot?
Rain Parrot. This is the best app if you care about rain when it's going to rain. Says
I haven't got that one.
It's going to be patchy now for 6 minutes, moderate rain in 37 minutes.
Rain Parrot?
Moderate rain in 36 minutes now.
Okay, because I'm looking at the Bomb app, which I love. My most used app, apart from old online backgammon.
Yep.
But because you get the rain radar, which I like. I like looking at that. But you get actual
real-time data.
Half-hourly breakdowns, do you?
Oh, no, by the minute it's uploading. Now it's moderate rain in 35 minutes.
Why do you have that app?
Patchy rain now for lasting 4 minutes. Sorry, because I'm interested in staying dry, David. It's interesting to know. I love that app. It's great. We mentioned it on there before. There's a few of our listeners that have got it too. But so what's
learned a lot about you in the last half hour.
Yeah.
The whole misophonia thing.
Misophoniac.
I'm going to come in here one morning with a chicken wing and see what happens.
Seriously. I won't be able to look at you. If you've got
with a 3-piece feed for the duration of the program, wait till I get to the potato and gravy. Have an old-fashioned slurp off.
Maybe we should ask people about their weird phobias a little bit later.
Why not? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Weird phobia. Weirdest phobia, folks.
Have you got a weird phobia?
Weirder the better.
And whatever it is, I tell you what, we'll make you this promise. Lucy's going to Google it to see if we can put a name on it like we did misophonia a short time ago. 8223 What's your weird phobia? Let's turn attention to the sports show last night. Rowie and Koshy got into it. I saw some tweets about this morning. Apparently this is quite good.
You have been throwing a few financial hand grenades our way over the last 12 months, so I've been a bit reticent to come on and a bit annoyed that you keep calling us financial cock cases and things like that.
I don't think I'd ever use those words, Koshy. You know my number. Don't be weak. Just ring me. Ring me.
Hopefully this result puts an end to any of that and shows you how strong financially we are.
They've published back page of the paper today the full financial results of Port Adelaide back in surplus, back in the black, as a government might talk about it. The entire football industry has proven pretty resilient.
Yeah, although the AFL posted a $43 million loss, but I guess
Yeah, but that's chump change with the AFL.
Well, that's right.
Next time they negotiate their rights deal, that won't be how many decimal points you're going to have to get to before that's a factor.
They're looking at a pretty good bounce back.
Yeah.
Even the Western Australian government's letting them play.
Yeah, maybe that's what's costing them all the money.
Yeah, that's right.
28 minutes after 7, 5AA News is on the way. We're going to go around the courts with Sean Fuster shortly. And if you've got a weird phobia and you don't know what it's called, ask us. Well, tell us what it is first so we can discuss it. It'll make me feel less weird. 8223 or text us on the Telstra Storm Outbacker text line.
Like to win a brand new Yaris Cross Hybrid? Well, book a Toyota Genuine Service at your local dealership, either online or via the My Toyota app, and as a thank you for supporting us, we'll automatically enter your name into the draw. There are also 12 $500 Ampol fuel cards to be won. Book today and you could drive away in a brand new Yaris Cross Hybrid. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota. See toyota.com.au/Winnie Yaris Cross for full T's and C's. SANT permit number T211816.
You want to shut out the wind and rain in winter, or the sun, flies and mozzies in summer, but you don't want to sacrifice your view. Then you need Phantom Screens. For protection from sun, wind and rain all year round, Phantom's SA-made outdoor motorised blinds can span up to 12 metres wide. They offer effortless automation, a blind that's there 1 minute and gone the next. From the hills to the coast and everywhere in between, choose Phantom Screens. Get inspired online at phantomscreens.com.au.
If your business could do with more business, you should try advertising here on the radio. FIVEaa can help turn your brand into a household name. We could do it with a jingle, or a really funny ad, or something deadly serious. Our audience is big enough to fill Adelaide Oval again and again. Get in touch with FIVEaa to find out how we can give your business more business.
In times of loss, you need Embrace. Making funeral arrangements is never easy, but Deanne Edwards from Embrace Funerals will gently step you through every detail. Embrace truly care about delivering the perfect, personalised funeral for your loved one at an affordable cost. Embrace Funeral Services are created with exceptional care and attention to every detail, tailored perfectly to your family for peace of mind. When funerals need to be perfect, choose Embrace.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two, 25 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates and group exercise classes claimable on private health. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
Prince Andrew and the woman who accused him of sexual assault have reached an out-of-court settlement. Nine's Brett McLeod reports.
News of the financial settlement between Prince Andrew and Virginia Giuffre came out of the blue. The Prince was due to give a deposition in her civil case against him in a matter of weeks, but they've now reached agreement that he pay her an undisclosed sum and make a donation to her charity in support of victims' rights. The Prince made no admission in the court documents, but said he regrets his association with sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and commends the bravery of Ms Giuffre and other survivors.
The hunt for the gunman following yesterday's shooting at Newton came to an end last night with the body located at Athelston. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says the 19-year-old was discovered near the River Torrens around 9:30.
There's no suspicious circumstances surrounding his death. Police will be preparing a report for the coroner. So the victim was known to the suspect, but we do ask anyone with any information about the shooting to please contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
The victim, an 81-year-old man, remains in a critical but stable condition in hospital. 3 boys aged 14, 15 and 16 have been charged after allegedly being busted with a stolen car at Christie Downs. The trio refused to stop for police but were caught when they did a runner. The eldest boy will front court today. The Toyota Corolla had been taken from Northfield. Public transport complaints have hit record highs. Latest figures released by the state government show there were 2,184 complaints in the December 2021 quarter. That's the highest rate since records began in 2016. Shadow Transport Minister Stephen Mulligan says the privatisation of our trains is to blame.
It's clear that privatisation hasn't delivered the boon that we were promised by the Marshall Liberal government. They promised better, safer and more frequent services, but it's clear from the complaints that people are worried about services being missed, having less security on services and carriages not being cleaned properly.
A wrongful death lawsuit has been filed against Alec Baldwin, alleging he recklessly shot and killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Her family is seeking unspecified damages after she died during a scene rehearsal on the set of the film Rust last year. Lawyers are arguing Hutchins would still be alive if the actor did not cut corners. Russia is promising to withdraw some troops from the border with Ukraine as President Putin stresses the country does not want war with Europe. Western leaders say there is so far no evidence of a withdrawal from the Ukrainian border. Tensions continue about a potential Russian invasion. NATO's Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg says nations have a right to deploy troops in their own territory, but this is unprecedented action.
This is the biggest concentration of combat-ready forces in Europe since the end of the Cold War. And they are close to Ukraine's borders. They are partly also inside Ukrainian territory in Crimea.
Australian officials have been reviewing data as they investigate a new theory about the fate of flight MH370. It's been prompted by a detailed technical report from a British aerospace engineer suggesting a different flight pattern. Now turning to 5AA Sport, and it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Australia has wrapped up the T20 series with a 6-wicket victory over Sri Lanka at Manica Oval. Marcus Stoinis sealing the win with a boundary.
Has he got enough on it? Stoinis! He has! Over the man! Stoinis wins the game for Australia. They do it by 6 wickets.
That call on Fox Cricket, but the Redbacks have slipped back to bottom of the domestic one-day ladder after suffering a 5-wicket loss against Victoria. To soccer, and Adelaide United has secured its first away win against Melbourne City since 2016, following a gutsy come-from-behind 2-1 win last night. The result lifts the Reds into third place. Meantime, in overseas action, Manchester City is making a mess of Sporting Lisbon, currently thumping them 4-0 heading into the second half. Australian basketball star Ben Simmons has spoken publicly for the first time since his controversial fallout with the Philadelphia 76ers. He hasn't played since being singled out by a teammate and his coach after a crucial playoff loss last season. Now at the Brooklyn Nets, Simmons says he's been battling some mental issues whilst away from the court.
It was just piled up, a bunch of things that have gone over the years to where I just knew I wasn't myself and I needed to get back into that place of, being myself and being happy as a person and taking care of my well-being.
Meantime, Josh Giddey's incredible run of form has continued after bagging another triple-double, finishing with 28 points, 11 rebounds and 12 assists in Oklahoma's 4-point overtime win against the New York Knicks. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Is your BMW due for service? Receive complimentary vehicle pick-up and drop-off at Glenelg BMW.
At Belair, got a motorcycle crash near Windy Point. That's on Belair Road, so take some care around there. At Morpeth Vale, got a smash on Brodie Road near Sheriff's Road. That's going to cause a few delays on the drive-in as well. And we've also got some delays around Myrtle Bank for those intersection works across Glen Osmond and Portrush Roads. Cameras today, Eliza Place Panorama, North Terrace at Port Elliot. A little bit of help brought to you by NRMA Insurance, who are proud to be helping right across South Australia as part of the same family as SGIC. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Win your slice of paradise. There's 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
A shower or two for your Wednesday, 25. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 25. The same again Friday. Right now it's 19. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes to 8. Someone sent David a lolly with a worm in it earlier and he started making gross mouth sounds. Got us talking about phobias because mine's misophonia. I can't handle the sound of gross mouth sounds. He knew that, which I actually think in 2022 is bullying. We've got a few texts.
Here we go, off to the HR department.
Again.
I've been harassed.
Let's go to Maddie in Manapara. What's your phobia, Maddie?
Well, it's a rather recent one. I don't like finding out what the Wordle word is before I played it.
Oh, mate, well, you were listening to the wrong show a couple of weeks ago, weren't you?
Or the other one is not getting it at all.
Have you not got it, Matt?
No, I'm on a 17-game streak from the start.
Sensational.
Yeah.
That's
But
good.
it's
17
Good
games
work,
in a row.
Maddie, thank you. Tessa and Paraka said, I've got an emerging phobia regarding failing Wordle and then therefore having a bad day, like some sort of omen.
Yeah, I think it's grounds for not going into work. Do people still go into work?
Oh, I don't know. Can you tell?
Ample parking in the CBD, folks, if you're interested in coming in.
Lots of texts on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line.
Oh, there's a mountain of them. I like this one from Mark Venables, the legendary Mark Venables from Two Mates Wines. Hi, Dave and Will. I have a fear of an empty glass, but I don't think I'm alone on that one. There's a word for that, and it's cenosilicophobia.
Is it?
Yeah. In fact, I think the Darrenbird Wine Club is called the Cenosilicophobix.
No way.
Club. Yeah. That's the term for it. CJ in Bowden says, my phobia is I can't eat food cold that's supposed to be hot. For example, a cold pie. I'm with you on that. I totally agree.
Is that a phobia or a preference?
Well, it could be. No,
Does it send you like running scared into the other room?
Yeah, it could. It could.
Really?
Well, you get freaked out by food sounds.
I know, I did.
So this is food temperatures.
Yeah,
Makes
okay,
as much
mate.
sense as
True,
any other.
true.
Sharon in Howlett Cove says, Dave and Will, I suffer from moosophobia, which isn't mooses. What's the plural of a moose?
Mice.
What, like a Canadian moose?
No, I wouldn't have a clue.
No, moosophobia means I'm terrified of mice and rats. Just seeing them on TV brings on nausea and cold sweats. One here, Vanessa in Glengarry. My phobia is lazy loading of the dishwasher. If people don't rinse dishes before putting them in the dishwasher, I start hyperventilating. And if they put dishes in the wrong place, I'm compelled to unload and reload.
I want to check the number on that because I reckon I live with someone who might have a similar condition.
Do you think that's a pseudonym, mate?
Yeah, I'm not sure Vanessa in Glengarry exists.
Vanessa sounds a lot like Alison.
Yeah.
And Tessa's phobia, aside from Wordle, is she's a phobia of buying odd numbers of fruit and veg. Well, right back at you. I never buy even numbers of fruit and veg.
Between the two of you, you clear the place out.
Yeah, I know.
Perfect.
What
Perfect
about
customers.
that? And Anne, this is common. She says, I liken mysophobia to a hatred of coriander, also known as the devil's weed. I wonder if they're one and the same.
I have no such fear of coriander.
People who hate it say that to them it tastes like soap.
Yeah.
My daughter says she hates it,
Yeah.
which is a real pain in the neck for when I do Mexican, because there's a lot of, as they call it, cilantro going on in Mexican food, but a very common dislike phobia, coriander.
I don't know what the word is for days that feel like the middle of winter when it's still, the 16th of February, but that's what we're having out there at the moment. Dave Lloyd, our Alberton correspondent, sent us a message a short time ago saying that it's so bleak in Alberton this morning, the streetlights are still on there. It's dark outside.
It is.
It's 19 minutes to 8 and it's dark. We've had not really rain to speak of. There's been a sort of as you described it, David, a sort of a weak mist that's descended, potentially up to 3 mils. But as the Bureau told us a short time ago, that's going to be later in the day. We're going to speak again about the weather in about 5 or 6 minutes' time. But first, it's time to go around the courts. Thanks to Crime Stoppers SA and Police Credit Union, supporting better communities. crimestopperssa.com.au. Sean Fuster from the Advertisers on the line. Morning to you, Sean.
Morning, guys. I actually have a phobia of lawyers.
You're in the wrong business.
Well, maybe you went into your role, Sean, as a form of what the psychologists call aversion therapy.
Maybe.
To try to overcome your fear.
Confronting my phobia.
Yes, exactly. Hey, Sean, I remember us talking a couple of years ago about this shocking story of a man who was accused of attempting to gas his daughter. Happened down south from memory. What's been the resolution of that case?
Look, this is something that is unprecedented as far as I can tell, and certainly unprecedented within my own career. This is the matter of Sean Mate, as you said, Pampo, accused of attempted murder over the allegation that he and his daughter were found unconscious in a bathroom with an open gas tank right next to them. Up till now, we were expecting a trial to kick off this week, in fact. Last Friday, however, the matter was called on at late notice. Defence counsel said that their client was prepared to admit to the objective elements, we'll get back into that in a second, but wanted to get a psychological report on the grounds that they figured there was some kind of mental health issue. Now, there's a couple of things to unpack from that. First of all, if you admit the objective elements in the context of a mental health case, as everybody knows from listening to Just Lawful the past couple of weeks, that means you admit that you did the physical action. So, if it was a driving case, you would admit that you were behind the wheel. If it was a stabbing, you admit that you wielded the knife. So Mr. Mate has admitted that he attempted to kill his daughter. He's raising the issue, though, that he may have a psychological issue that leads to him being mentally incompetent. But here's the thing. Psychological issues don't trigger mental health laws. Only psychiatric issues do. You have to actually have a doctor, a medical doctor, say there's something wrong with you that means you can't realise the wrongness of your actions. And this guy's saying, well, maybe it's a psychological condition, which has not been done before.
But has the court accepted it?
Not really. The judge was quite savage. She said that counsel involved in the case have been looking after Mr. Mate's interests since his arrest. Here we are 48 hours before trial, and now you decide to check out his psychology? How come you haven't had any of these issues or questions in all the hours you've spent prepping for the trial, sitting with him, speaking to him? Why is this only happening now? Defence counsel's answer was, well, it has, and it's our duty to explore it, so we want the whole thing adjourned off.
I got to say, I commend the judge for her cynicism, because I think a lot of people listening to this segment, Sean, would be asking the question, is this belated discovery of a potential psychological condition nothing more than a pretty transparent get-out-of-jail-free card?
Not to mention the prosecution raising, as I just said, you can't use psychology for what they call a Section 269 application. It has to be psychiatry, it has to be schizophrenia, it has to be bipolar disorder, it has to be something that would see you spend a period of time in James Nash House with a psychiatric illness, not depression, not anxiety, not post-traumatic stress, not mood adjustment disorder, not the things that are dealt with by psychological intervention. So to see defence counsel try to fly this flag super late and also really go against the law concerns me. I mean, with Just Lawful, I know how much time we've spent teasing out how 269 works and what it's supposed to do. And like you say, Pembo, lots of people get the idea, wrongly I feel, that a 269 application is a get-out-of-jail-free card. But when you're not following the law to try to use the law, you open yourself up to that accusation, but you also open up the entire system for criticism.
Well, you wonder where it stops. I mean, I can remember reading about a case in Sydney years ago when I was working there where a bloke who'd robbed a bank, his lawyer argued that he was in something called a fugue state, which is like a dissociative state where he wasn't really himself when he robbed the bank. It was like, oh, give me a break.
That was the argument that they tried to run in the Hillier triple murder, if you remember, years ago.
That's right.
Stephen Pete tried to say he was in a fugue state. And speaking of triple murders, the Kapunda triple murder, Jason Downey was in a fugue state when he murdered the Rowe family at Kapunda. But that didn't count as a 269. He couldn't claim that he was mentally incompetent. He went to jail for murder, and he'll be deported once he finishes his 30-something year non-parole period. That's what's supposed to happen when it's that kind of issue.
A bit of a milestone for you guys on Just Lawful too, isn't it, Sean? Are you moving to a new case this weekend?
Well, we moved out of the Cy Walsh case last week, and now we're examining something that's sort of arisen from it, guys. The people are very interested, all of our listeners are very interested in how the media chooses what court cases to cover and what the restrictions are. That's led to me actually digging back into my past and talking about a case that I'm not particularly proud of, doing a bit of a re-examination of my involvement in the Paul Nima case all those years ago, and how a very young Sean, a very inexperienced journalist, may have helped fan the flames of public sentiment a little more than he really should have. It's a little bit confronting, but it's interesting to see what can go wrong and how court cases can be altered and changed by inexperienced media coverage, let's put it that way.
Sean, thank you. People remember that case particularly well. Always fascinating. Sean Fuster, the chief court reporter of The Advertiser and host of Just Lawful here on 5AA as well. 8223 is our number. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. Craig in Salisbury East has called in with a phobia. Good morning, Craig.
Morning, boys. How are we?
Good, thanks, Craig.
Good. It's not me, it's my daughter. When you dish up dinner, you are not allowed to let any of the food touch each other.
Oh, wow.
And last night she said, it's a phobia. And I said, you're an idiot. But she will not, if it's touching, she just sits there and pouts and will not eat it.
How do you do it with like peas or something like that moves around on the plate, Craig? It must be a total nightmare.
Oh, don't get me started.
What's her view on sauce then, Craig? Does it sit separately?
Everything is drowned in sauce.
Right, so that's the sort of one unifying factor. I get it.
Yeah.
I suppose you could use the sauce as a divider. You could put like a cross shape on the plate and put everything in each of the quarters. Is that what you have to do?
No, she puts half a bottle on everything.
Now, Craig, we made this promise to you that, all the phobias that people call in with, Lucy will look up to see if we can find something. This is a legitimate one. It's called...
Really?
Brummatactylophobia. Brummatactylophobia. I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly, but that's my best effort at it, having just read it.
Oh, no.
It's a mild form of obsessive-compulsive disorder. So,
oh, no.
I reckon we've all got a bit of
people like to have
OCD.
control over their food and eat every part of the meal separately. That's the foundation of it. So, you might have lost this argument, Craig.
Yeah. Please don't tell her that.
All
She's
right.
not listening.
No, we won't.
It sort of follows on from Sean's segment. It sounds like it's a recognised psychiatric condition. Bromatactylophobia.
That's right.
There you go. If
right.
she breaks the law, she'll be able to use that in court.
Thank you, Craig. All right, let's...
Not that she ever would. She
Of
sounds
course
like a
not.
wonderful child.
No. Let's take one more, in fact, before we check traffic. Dean and Craigmore, good morning.
How you going, boys?
Good, thanks, Dean.
I got, and this is for real, I've got a thing about hanging clothes out. You've got to use the same colour pegs on every piece of clothes. And I used to coach a footy team, and I took the jumpers home and hung them in numerical order around the clothesline.
I've heard.
that's
I reckon.
excellent.
I bet we've got other listeners who do that with the clothes pegs and the clothes colours. I've heard that before. Oh, Dean, how are you seeking treatment, or are you just battling on manfully?
Look, I'll be honest. My partner comes out and she starts hanging. Like I grab the clothes out of the washing machine, go out there, and I'm diligently hanging them on the line. And she comes out and she's willy-nilly putting pegs everywhere. I'm going along behind her changing the pegs. It drives me insane.
Oh, Dean,
peg rage.
We wish you all the well in your battle against.
Oh, that's excellent.
Peg disorder. All right, let's check the traffic situation. Is your BMW due for a service? Will receive complimentary vehicle pickup and drop off at Glenelg BMW.
Thanks, Will. At Belair, got residual delays from an earlier motorcycle crash. That's on Belair Road near Windy Point. Montfort Vale got a smash on Sheriff's Road near Brodie Road. Modbury, telecommunication works continue. North East Road near Smart Road. Got speeds reduced there. And a few cameras about this morning. Anzac Highway, Karata Park. Winston Avenue, Door Park. And Majors Road at O'Halloran Hill. Boosters are available for anyone 16 and over 3 months from your second dose. Book now at covidvaccine.sa.gov.au. A message from the Government of South Australia. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive Officer at Western Hospital Henley Beach. We're proud to say the Western Hospital GP Clinic has vaccinated over 11,000 community members as part of the statewide response to COVID-19. Our doctors, nurses and staff have exceeded expectations and we're very proud of our contribution. If you're looking for a GP, why not get online and book an appointment? We are dedicated to providing individualised consultations. Visit westernhospitalgp.com.au.
Home renovations can be akin to climbing Everest. Every step of the way can be torturous to reach your ultimate goal. Well, the same could be said for home renovations, but not if you go with Buy-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. The team at Buy-Urban have always believed the journey is just as important as the destination. So start your journey with Buy-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit buyurban.com.au.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. When you need a forklift, don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Get the world's #1 forklift brand. Get legendary Toyota reliability. Get world-leading safety and get it from toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For sales, service and hire, get a Toyota forklift.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
So you've got a will. That's good. But do you know where it is? Or when it was updated last? Have your circumstances changed? An old or poorly thought out will can leave problems for your family and those you love. And it can be expensive to sort out. Don't let that be your legacy. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, you can trust Donlan Lawyers to help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Gliderol Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 to 8, let's talk weather. Been a bit of, we're not calling it rain, we're calling it gentle mist in Adelaide this morning.
There's got to be a better word than that.
Yeah, well,
I did a quick Google search for, is there a word in another language for rain? Like there's a lot of languages that like, there's 4 words for rice in Indonesian.
What have you found?
Know?
No, I did not.
I haven't found any. It's just mist,
vapor. Yeah, okay. Before we get to the weather, Robert and Morph at Vale, good morning.
Good morning, fellas.
Have you got a phobia, mate, or are you about the rain?
So I've got a phobia of people that eat with their mouth open.
Good man, I'm with you.
You and
they
Will,
should
mate,
be thrown straight in prison.
Zero tolerance.
But I just heard Port Lincoln 13.6 mils so far since 9 a.m. yesterday. What's it like over there?
It's quite wet at the moment. It's just sprinkling at the moment, but it was pretty heavy last night. A couple of the boys that are staying up at Tumby Bay and Laos, they reckon they got about 15. They wake up, it was flooding on the road. So
wow.
Yeah, we've got quite a bit up here at the moment.
Geez, it'd be nice waking up in Port Lincoln with the smell of the rain, watching it coming in over the water. Terrific.
Thank you for that.
Spot.
Appreciate it, Robert. In the official gauge reading here in Adelaide says 0 mils of rain. We know that's not the case. So we're top of 3 today. There'll be some recorded. Maybe the mist isn't quite powerful enough to register, but it's 0 at the moment. It's dark out there. It feels kind of wintry, and it's in keeping with a start to the year that's been. It feels a little bit odd. We're not that far removed from the 24th of January. We had 33 mils of rain on the 24th of January. Generally, February is the driest month of all. We get 13 mils on average. If we get to 3 today, we're almost 25% of what the expected rainfall is in the entire month.
It's weird, though, because it's not cold. It's currently 19 degrees.
Yeah, it's pleasant.
Like it's. Are you wearing shorts?
Just bleak. No, I'm not wearing not shorts today. Not shorts. But there's a little bit of a rain about the place. There's not going to be a lot of it, but it does feel like it's dropping away. But nothing that we've seen too much to this point. Interesting contrast. You don't have to go back that far to recall, dry, hot summer. 2019. Remember the start of 2019? Those were the days.
Oh, what a year.
We had
Freedom.
17.8 mils by way of contrast. 17.8 mils in the first 4 months combined of 2019. So we got through to April, and we had about half the amount of rain we had on the 24th of January this year, which is pretty extraordinary. And of course, earlier this morning, we were talking about the last time we had a 40-degree day. That summer, we had the record break at 46.6.
Was that 2019?
That was 2019.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It was. Yes, I remember going down to the port to see you and I and the Hoodoo Gurus the day after the cool change came in, and it was people just going berserk.
Jane in Northfield, good morning.
Good morning, boys. I just had to ring and let Pembo know that the word he's looking for when it's rain but not really rain is virga.
Virga?
Yes. Now put that in your Wordle and work backwards and see what the original word would have been. There's something for you to waste time on today, Pembo.
Hey, that's a great idea.
How do you spell it, Jane?
I'm going to guess VER.
G-A.
Virga.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying it phonetically. I really don't know how to spell it.
All right. Well,
I've got to say apologies to any.
Thank you, Jane.
Apologies to any Spanish-speaking listeners because it's got a very different meaning in Spanish.
Okay, I don't want to know. I'm afraid to Google it now. Time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
And now, here's a typical Los Angeles Rams supporter with another tip for real happiness.
If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, here's a Rams supporter with some advice. After you've heard him rave and rant, you'll know he has the brains of a right big plant.
Hey, this is a Rams fan with another tip for real happiness, man. If you want to be really happy, man, be a Rams fan. Then when you win Super Bowl, you can go downtown and jump on other people's cars and steal stuff and shoot people, man. It's so great that we won Super Bowl that me and a few of my buddies are gonna go break into a store and loot some stuff. Yeah, because we're so happy we feel like a new TV or maybe some cool shoes and a new fridge, man. But we don't have to pay for them because we won Super Bowl! Hey, I heard someone got shot, but it's okay because the shooter was just happy that we won Super Bowl, so it's okay. The police don't seem to understand, man, that when we're happy, we like to run around the streets and break the law and steal stuff. That's what it means to live in the land of the free and the home of the brave, man. Hey, look, that's a nice car. Come on, guys, let's try to tip that car over and then throw some bottles at police. Yeah, because we won Super Bowl. Yeah!
If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, that's around supporter with some advice. Now he's just shown he doesn't give a rat's. In Los Angeles, he's one of many mindless twats.
Minute to 8, 5AA News on the way, breaking at 8 shortly thereafter, and then the Acting Police Commissioner, Linda Williams, will join us.
Hi there, I'm Grishma, a Specsavers optometrist. Did you know that every Specsavers is locally owned and operated by an optometrist, just like me? We believe eye tests should reveal more, not cost more, which is why we include an OCT Advanced 3D eye scan with every eye test, at no extra charge. Does your optometrist? Experience the Specsavers difference and book your eye test today. We're here to look after your eye health and keep you safe in store. Visit specsavers.com.au.
No one likes to wait, especially if you're waiting for something really amazing, like a new Mazda. Lucky, you won't have to wait too long at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Right now, you'll find new stock and demos right across the range, which means there's no compromise. You'll get everything you want and love in your new Mazda. Get behind the wheel of your dream Mazda sooner. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide. Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two, 25 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra Marion have a hydrotherapy pool now on site. Contact Physio Extra Marion or head to physioextra.com.
Prince Andrew has reached a financial settlement with the woman who accused him of sexual assault, the BBC's Johnny Diamond reports.
This is a pretty good result for Prince Andrew. It comes before he was going to give a sworn statement to Ms Giuffre's lawyers. He makes no admission of guilt. There will be no trial. He remains innocent, as he has not been proven guilty of anything. The talk from some in his circle in recent weeks was that he would take this to trial. Doing that and winning would have cleared his name. As it is, he is disentangled from legal threat, but with his reputation still under a shadow. The Prince stepped back from royal duties in late 2019 and in January relinquished his patronages and titles.
Police have recovered the body of a man wanted in connection to yesterday's shooting at a house at Newton. There are no suspicious circumstances and a report will now be prepared for the coroner. The 19-year-old was located at Athelston around 9:30 last night after police cordoned off Gorge Road. The 81-year-old victim is in a critical but stable condition in hospital after being shot in the arm and leg. Australian air safety investigators have renewed their search for Malaysian Airlines flight MH370. The team has been cross-matching data with new evidence suggesting a different flight pattern and possible location for the missing aircraft. It follows a detailed technical report from a British aerospace engineer. The ATSB's new Chief Commissioner says he's open-minded about the new theory. The state government has hit back at claims there's been a spike in complaints about public transport since our trains were privatised. Labor claims there's been a 48% increase in complaints across the network. But Transport Minister Corey Wingard says they're twisting the figures.
The facts are really clear. There are less complaints in 2021 than there were in 2014 when Labor was in power. So Giles Downer are doing a great job running our trades. They've improved security, improved services.
Australia's biggest bank is warning mortgage holders interest rates could rise as early as June. The Commonwealth believes low unemployment, increasing inflation and wages growth will see the cash rate return to a neutral setting. The bank's head of Australian economics, Gareth Aird, says it'll be a modest rise by the end of the year from the current record low of 0.1%.
And we think that's quite low, somewhere around 1.25%. And the reason being is that the household sector in Australia carries a lot of debt. That debt has obviously gone into the housing market. So when the Reserve Bank gets around to raising interest rates, we don't think they're going to have to go too high because it'll have quite a material impact on household finances.
A Melbourne family fears their teenage son has gone missing in an attempt to copy the ill-fated adventure of an American man whose story became a Hollywood movie. Nine's Pat Mitchell explains.
19-year-old Sam Thompson hasn't been seen since February 10. His four-wheel drive found in a remote rural location 15 kilometres west of Swan Hill on Monday. The Narre Warren teenager leaving a brief, distressing note for family and friends in the front cover of the book Into the Wild. That's prompted fears he's trying to copy US adventurer Christopher McCandless, whose ill-fated attempt to live alone and off the grid became a Hollywood movie in 2007.
There are people in this world who go looking for adventure.
That story ends in tragedy. Police and Sam's family seeking public assistance to locate the 19-year-old before he suffers a similar fate.
Now turning to 5AA Sport, and here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Australia has secured another series victory in cricket with the men's T20 side winning the third of 5 T20s against Sri Lanka. Glenn Maxwell hit 39 off 26 to help Australia reach Sri Lanka's total of 121 with 6 wickets remaining. Meantime, South Australia suffered a 5-wicket loss against Victoria at Karen Knowlton Oval in their one-dayer. Marcus Harris putting in a man-of-the-match performance with an unbeaten 102. Australian figure skater Kalyani Crane has failed to qualify for the short program at the Winter Olympics. Nine's Matt Granland reports.
Crane was the only Aussie competing in the figure skating and needed to finish inside the top 24 of 30 skaters. The 23-year-old failed to nail an early jump sequence, which was a required element in her routine. That technical error meant she only managed to score of 49.93, well outside what was needed to advance. The games roll into day 12. Aussies in action in men's slalom and cross-country skiing.
The soccer, Adelaide United's up to third on the A-League table following a hard-fought 2-1 win against Melbourne City. The Reds coming from a goal down to secure all 3 points. Meantime, in overseas action, Manchester City is now 5-0 up against Sporting Lisbon with about 20 minutes to play. That's in the first leg of their knockout Champions League tie. There's also one Premier League match on this morning with Cristiano Ronaldo hitting the score sheet for the Red Devils, who lead Brighton 1-0 with about half an hour to play. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
A new and independent home for BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Visit Glenelg BMW today.
At Morpher Vale got residual delays from an earlier crash on Sheriff's Road near Brodie Road. Modbury telecommunication works continue Northeast Road near Smart Road, speeds reduced. O'Halloran Hill asphalt works continuing Majors Road near the Southern Expressway. Got heavy delays there, avoid that if you can. With cameras today, Anzac Highway, Karalta Park and Duthie Street at Malvern. Make sure you and your car stay cool. Switch and save with an Automasters aircon service. Over 20 branches with pay later options available. Call 1300 Automasters. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Win your slice of paradise. There's 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
A shower or two today. We're heading for a top of 25. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 25. Friday, partly cloudy, also 25. Right now, it's 20 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
You might think having thousands of POWs is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 200 gins, 300 craft beers, 500 whiskies from around the world, and over 2,000 wines. But they're some of the best POWs you can have, and they're always looking for more. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. POWs, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Life sends us in all kinds of different directions. So if it's time for a new place, whether it's your first or your next, People's Choice will have you right at home. With great rates and flexible appointments, our home loan specialist can make it happen, wherever you are, because we're for easy journeys. Learn more online or in branch. Finding the right home is half the battle. Finding the right people to get you there is simple. People's choice. Terms, conditions, fees, charges and lending criteria apply. Full details available on application. People's Choice Credit Union is referred to as People's Choice.
Gliderol Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 minutes after 8. Listen up, Beatles fans. We're going to play Guess the Beatles a little bit later this hour. You can pick the beat of a Beatles song, just a couple of bars. It's 2 seconds long usually, the snippet. You beat another listener.
Takes a bit of work.
You've got to be good. It's not easy, but we want real Beatles fans to go along to Classical Mystery Tour playing at Gluttony this Adelaide Fringe. You can call in on 8223 not yet, but probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Stay listening. We'll be giving those away. You can also get tickets at Fringe Tix. Just search Classical Mystery Tour. And just so you know the full picture, it's you and 3 friends VIP style to the show. So you get 4 tickets all up.
All style.
All style, yep. And a lot of substance. It's time for Breaking It Up.
Well, for the last few years, there's been a lot of concern in the building industry, concern shared by the state government as well about the rising militancy of the local chapter of the construction union, the CFMEU. We brought you the story a couple of years back about the sidelining of the very level-headed and reasonable Aaron Cartledge, who fell foul of John Setka. Setka launched that obscenity-laden tirade via an email to the union's national leadership, condemning the SA branch for being soft. The thing that inspired Setka's rage was he was in Adelaide with his partner, who's from Adelaide, over Christmas a few years ago, and he got upset because he saw builders working on North Terrace on December the 27th and thought that that was unacceptable, that everybody should be on holidays at that time, and basically demanded and secured Cartledge's removal as the head of the union. Well, since then, the union has been run by a bunch of Setka loyalists who have been prosecuted, most memorably over the Watpac site at the Adelaide airport. Big fines were issued there over some of the heavy-handed conduct that was being directed towards the site managers. Well, there's been some personnel changes in the last few weeks at the CFMEU. The guy who has been the state secretary is heading back to Queensland. Now, I understand that the bloke who's going to take over is a guy called Scott Vink, and if the building industry is hoping that he's the breath of fresh air that the sector's looking for, it sounds like they're sadly mistaken, because Mr. Vink has fallen foul of the law in the past. He was convicted and fined $9,000, and the union was fined $48,000 in Queensland in 2014. He's originally from Queensland, this guy. This was over behaviour that the court described as sheer thuggery that has no place in the Australian workplace. What they did, they taped this bloke on a building site, and they got him hounding and threatening non-union building workers, and it sounds like quite a juvenile argument he was having with them. He was upset that non-union members were using a fridge to keep their lunch cool, and that the fridge should only be the preserve of paid up, Eureka flag-loving CFMEU boys. He said things like, "Get out of the shed, you scab. You're an effing piece of SHIT, mate. That's what you are. What did I just say, mate? Get this SHIT out of the fridge. Don't make it any worse. No, you can't. You can put Neil's stuff in the fridge because Neil's a union member." So, really tackling the big issues there. He also last year was involved in a really unpleasant incident on Facebook where members of the union photographed the former state secretary, Aaron Cartledge, who's doing a bit of work advising building companies now on their rights and responsibilities under industrial laws. So for that alleged crime, they photographed Aaron Cartledge at work on a building site. They put the photo up on Facebook, and then all these guys, using their real names, just piled on, basically saying that Cartledge would pay, possibly with physical violence, for working for people in the construction industry. So there you go. It doesn't sound like the new broom of moral renewal that some might have been hoping for at the CFMEU.
What about that? Not at all. 13 minutes after 8, let's get to some of the stories that have been developing over the course of the morning. Just over an hour ago, we heard from US President Joe Biden on the situation on the Ukraine border, where now there's increasing hope that there may be something of a de-escalation, with Moscow suggesting that some forces were being returned to base.
From the beginning of this crisis, I have been absolutely clear and consistent. The United States is prepared no matter what happens. We are ready with diplomacy to be engaged in diplomacy with Russia and our allies and partners to improve stability and security in Europe as a whole. And we are ready to respond decisively to Russian attack on Ukraine, which is still very much a possibility.
NATO is sceptical at this point in time. US is saying they haven't fully confirmed that there's anything approaching a withdrawal, but the fact that Moscow is saying it's part of what's happening there would lead you to believe, given their sort of very bullish, belligerent stance to this point in time, that that's something, or at least it leads you to hope that that is the trajectory now of this potential conflict. The situation with Prince Andrew and Virginia Giuffre has resolved itself in a way that, I got to say, shocked me a little bit waking up this morning to hear that they'd reached an out-of-court settlement. All the expectation was that very soon he was going to be taking the stand, there'd be opening arguments, that some of his positions and thoughts would have been explored, and we'd learn more about their association, if any, could be proven in court. Well, it's not going to happen now because an out-of-court settlement was reached. It includes an undisclosed sum for Virginia Giuffre, but also some money for her foundation as well to help out trafficked girls. Here's our man in the UK, Vincent McAviney, a little bit earlier in the program.
Came as a complete surprise and a shock that this settlement had been reached. It seems that both parties had been gearing up for a big court battle. There was meant to be a deposition being recorded in the next couple of weeks by Prince Andrew, and then there was going to be a court date later on at some point in the year, and it was going to overshadow the Queen's Platinum Jubilee year, it seems. But now they have reached this agreement. We don't have the full details. There are reports that it might be for as much as £7.5 million.
£7.5 million, significant sum of money. Vincent speculated he may have come across the money by selling one of his ski lodges. That's not a joke. That's literally...
What a get-out-of-jail-free card that is. Oh, well, at least I can sell one of my ski lodges.
Well, if we only all had a ski lodge somewhere just to...
Yeah, everyone kicking around in your suite of properties.
For difficult times. I enjoyed reading this story this morning, and I think this is entirely appropriate.
We'll meet again. Don't know when, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again.
Such a beautiful piece of music. It is, isn't it? Dame Vera Lynn. At Westminster Abbey going to host a Thanksgiving service celebrating her life and work. Of course, I remember this well. Can't believe it's almost 2 years ago now, but she passed away in June 2020, aged 103. It'll be an hour-long service on the 21st of March, celebrating her life. 90-year career as a singer and entertainer. She sold both ends are remarkable if you look at some of the data on it. She sold more than 1 million records by the age of 22. 1 million records by 22. So you can imagine, what that means in terms of the world population and proportionally to now. But in the weeks before her death, she became the oldest artist to get to the top 40 as well.
Seriously?
Yeah, beating her own record when her greatest hits album re-entered the charts at number 30 as well.
1939 that came out, that song, We'll Meet Again. What a year in history that was.
Yeah.
And what a perfect song for the mood of the times.
Yeah.
Would have meant so much to so many people as they said goodbye to their boyfriends and husbands going off to war. Not to forget the nurses who were going off as well, the women who served. But I wonder if any of our listeners have got it on an old 78. Do you have any 78s in your family, Will?
Oh, yeah.
The records?
Dad would, yeah. I don't have it. Well, I don't. Mine are all...
I've got about 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one that belonged to Dad. He got it as a present when he was a kid. And it's called the Ying Tong Song. And it's by the Goons. Spike Milligan, Peter Sellers.
Yeah, right.
I used to find it terrifically funny when I was a kid.
She was bestowed
the title... regarded as racist now, the Ying Tong Song.
Probably. She was bestowed the title Force's Sweetheart, which I didn't realise was sort of I thought that was sort of a total, you had an affinity, or it was just sort of a nice way of referring to her, given her how well she was received and how important she was to soldiers fighting in the war. But it was, in fact, an accolade that a whole heap of them got around the time.
Wow.
The Force's sweetheart, apparently used in other countries as well. But it started in the First World War, but it was a tradition carried on. And I think, I don't know if there's an upper echelon of that category, but I'd imagine she should well be in it.
Absolutely.
18 minutes after 8. Let's check traffic now. Is your BMW due for a service? We'll receive complimentary vehicle pickup and drop off at Glenelg BMW.
Thanks, Will. At Moffat Vale, got residual delays from an earlier smash on Sheriff's Road near Brodie Road. Modbury telecommunication works on North East Road near Smart Road. Got speeds reduced there. O'Halloran Hill, Asphalt works continue Majors Road near the Southern Expressway. Seeing quite heavy delays. Avoid it if you can today. And Camrose Main South Road, Normanville, North Terrace, Port Elliot, and Stonehouse Avenue at Campton Park. The Honda HR-V is now in run-out. With the Honda Prize Promise, the HR-V delivers joy for all sorts. Visit your Honda Centre today. Only while stocks last, legal stuff applies. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Roey's Sports Show.
We know the Brompton site, they lost by government tender. Fair, square, bang, done. It would be absolutely, I've got no other word for it other than a corporate dog act for any government to renege on that winning tender. Would you really do that, Mr Malinauskas, with all due respect?
4 p.m. weekdays.
I think they're miles down the path on signing a deal. The Thebby deal has been there pretty much since day one. So if I was a betting man, I'd put your house on it. They're going to end up at Thebby.
Roey's Sports Show on 5AA.
Just imagine living mortgage-free in absolute luxury at one of Adelaide's most sought-after beachside addresses. The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is giving you the chance to win your own slice of paradise in beautiful Somerton Park. The $3 million fully furnished Scott Salisbury Grand Prize is what dreams are made of, and it comes with $500,000 cash. Tickets sell fast. Get yours today. HomeLottery.com.au. Licence M14133.
You can do just about anything online. Buy a couch, find the love of your life, enter the cryptocurrency market. But there's one thing so important that you should never do online, and that's your will. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. The sort of thing you just can't do with an online will. Visit donlanlawyers.com. and organise an appointment today. That's donlanlawyers.com.
The Edwardstown Mazda sale is on right now, and it's sizzling with massive savings on new, demo and used Mazdas. Plenty of stock is arriving daily, but you'd better hurry, they'll be snapped up. Edwardstown Mazda, 862 South Road, LMVD 207428.
Our public health system is under more strain than ever, and it's not just from COVID. Hospital capacity must be increased urgently, supported by safe staffing levels that are legally enforceable. The Marshall Liberal government have refused to commit to these actions, while Labor has committed to boost capacity and implement legislation that ensures safe nurse and midwife staffing ratios. When you vote, make sure that you act to protect and boost our healthcare system. Authorised by Elizabeth DeBars for the Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation, SA Branch Adelaide.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive Officer at Western Hospital Henley Beach. We're proud to say the Western Hospital GP Clinic has vaccinated over 11,000 community members as part of the statewide response to COVID-19. Our doctors, nurses and staff have exceeded expectations, and we're very proud of our contribution. If you're looking for a GP, why not get online and book an appointment? We are dedicated to providing individualised consultations. Visit westernhospitalgp.com.au.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes after 8. Hopefully the news of potential de-escalation in Ukraine means potential news about a decline in petrol prices. As Mark Borlase from the RAA explained to us a little bit earlier, that Russia are a huge part of the petrol price puzzle here in Australia, given their impact on the flow of oil around the world and the oil price. The evidence this morning for Fuel Watch is that it's still in the mid-$60s thanks to Glenelg BMW, a new independent home for BMW now open on Brighton Road. Visit Glenelg BMW today. The cheapest, though, you'll find it out east is $1.62.7. There's a few we found it a bit cheaper, but the range is not massive this morning. Liberty Marion Road, Marion, $1.59.9. The ex-convenience Port Road, Hindmarsh, $1.59.7. And the Liberty Bridge Road, Paraka, $1.59.5. 8223 is the number to call right now if you want to get along to Classical Mystery Tour and see the show at Gluttony in style with 3 friends, VIP style. You can get tickets at Fringe Sticks, or you can call right now, 8223 and play Guess the Beat Alls.
Hey, buried in our mountain of text on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line, just so you know, folks, we always, in the course of the show, we get so many texts we can never read them all out, but I hope you're still listening, Rob. This one came in about an hour ago. It's buried under a mountain of texts about people's weird phobias, but I liked it. Rob makes this excellent point. Prince Andrew was so regretful that he sends someone else out to apologise for him.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, it is.
What about Sam McClure? He should really, someone needs to tell him, pack it in, digger. The dogs are, whatting on your swag, to use an old saying from politics. He went on 3AW yesterday and had a whinge about the fact that he's been stripped of his award for his completely over-the-top beat-up about the Crows camp, and said, Louise Milligan, she won an award. She won a Quill Award for covering George Pell, saying he'd done all these terrible things, and Pell had his convictions quashed. So maybe, should she hand back the award too? For a man who's apologised and whose company has apologised, he's not really towing the company line, is he?
You're flying close to the wind at some point in time, aren't you, about undermining your apology?
Collective minds could quite easily say, listen, the apology is meant to be binding. The agreement is there legally. He's writing tweets quoting Winston Churchill, claiming that he's been wrong. Now he's going on radio talking about it.
He made the point too that he expects that he was most let down by people in the tent, other journalists. By
Well, we're meant to cover his backside, are we?
Well, but here's the thing. Then, in the same breath, what about Louise Milligan?
Oh yeah, I know exactly. So he starts trying to dog other journos. I'm Sam McClure.
Let's give away some Beatles tickets.
You might remember me from such beat-ups as the Crows Camp.
Classical Mystery Tour playing at Gluttony this Adelaide Fringe. You can get tickets at Fringe Ticks. Just search Classical Mystery Tour or play Guess the Beat Alls. Carl in Salisbury, good morning.
Good morning.
And Paul in Woodville South, good morning to you as well.
Morning, guys.
All right, now your names are your buzzers. Carl, Paul, say your name when you're ready to have a guess. You get it wrong, the other person gets a free hit. Or be listening, and we'll play you this short bit. You can jump in whenever you like. Here we go. You ready to go?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Oh,
that's hard.
That's tough.
hard.
Do you want to hear it again, guys?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Gee, that's rough. That is really rough.
I reckon I've got it. I've written it down.
Lucy's apologising for being a little bit mean.
I don't know that one. I don't know that one.
Can we give a clue about which album it's on?
Magical Mystery Tour is the album.
Carl.
Yes, Carl.
Carl, I'm the Walrus.
It's not I Am the Walrus. Sorry, Carl.
Good job.
Anyone want to have a guess?
I wouldn't have a clue, guys.
It's a very tough one. We know what we do is we'll keep the phone lines open. 8223 First person who can call in and get it will get the tickets right now. You got to be a real Beatles fan, but I got to say
I haven't got it. My guess was Day in the Life, which is on Sgt. Pepper's.
Got to say, Lucy, that's
evil.
That is done. Truly brutal. Shane in Brooklyn Park. Here we go.
Could it be Lucy?
What do you think?
Could it be Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds?
It is not Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. There we go, found that one. Thank you, Shane. Rosemary and Hallett Cove. Here we go.
Oh, crikey. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds?
It is not Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
I'm doing a cheat here. I'm calling up Magical Mystery Tour track listings.
All right, let's go to Brett, Noarlunga Downs. Morning to you, Brett.
Good morning, fellas. It's a Helter Skelter.
Hang on, here we go. It is not Helter Skelter. Thank you, Brett. We're going to keep going. In fact, Mel Usher might get to leave a little bit early today because we're going to run into the news. Ian, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good,
We're
Ian.
Good, thanks, Ian.
time with a little help from my friends.
It is not. Yeah, with a little help from my friends.
We're going to need help from more than our friends to get this one.
Russell in Holden Hill, good morning.
Is it I Am the Walrus?
No, we just had that one. Sorry, Russell. It's not I Am the Walrus. 82230055.
So there's 11 songs on the original release of Magical Mystery Tour, which is a soundtrack.
All right, let's go. Damien's on the line.
Hey.
What do you think it is, Damien?
Strawberry Fields Forever.
It is Strawberry Fields. Damien, you got the tickets. That ended up being Lucy wanted to prove a point that someone could get it right there. That's what we ended up. That's what we ended up experiencing.
That was tough.
And she was right. They did.
Strawberry Fields.
Oh, wow.
That's rough.
Harsh.
Oh, Luce. Well,
Strawberry Fields Forever.
well played to Damien. You've got the tickets. Classical Mystery Tour. If you want to head along, check them out. Fringe Ticks. Just search Classical Mystery Tour.
Whether a hobby or a full-blown dairy and livestock farm, they all have one thing in common: the need for good quality steel to keep livestock safe and secure. At Knorr Metals, we have just that. From rural fencing and gates to droppers, loading ramps and more, you'll find what you need for your farm. And if we don't, we'll source it for you quickly and at the best price. No matter what kind of farm you have, we'll help you out. At Knorr Metals, 255 Grand Junction Road, Ottaway.
You know us for our bright blue vans. Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. We are the proud winners of the Product Review Award for Plumbing in Australia for 2020 and 21. Did you know we offer $0 deposit interest-free payment plans, have no extra charge for after hours and can also often be at your door within the hour? Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. Available 24/7.
Now, make sure you've tuned in tomorrow afternoon for the 5AA Interactive Lounge. Jade is going to be speaking with David Millets, the CEO of Carers SA.
Many carers are unpaid and they're also unaware that they can get free support through Carers SA. So if you're supporting a partner, a parent, a child or one of your friends with a disability, mental illness, long-term health condition, dementia, an alcohol or drug dependency, or simply driving them to regular medical appointments, you may be entitled to free support services.
Carers SA is the leading provider of the federal government carer gateway services. They exist to help those who help others. Find out how you can register for help. They'll be taking calls off air and answering any questions you might have about Carers SA.
Don't miss it. That's our interactive lounge tomorrow with Jade Robran between 2:30 and 3:30 p.m. The number to call is 8291 5600.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Why do all the boys just pass you by? Could it be you just don't try?
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two, 25 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates and group exercise classes claimable on private health. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
The victim of yesterday's shooting at Newton, an 81-year-old man, remains in a critical but stable condition in hospital. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says the hunt for the suspect spanned several suburbs.
About 7:20, they actually found a vehicle they believed had been driven by the suspect on Gorge Road. So that road was closed just around the area while they searched for the suspect. About 9:30, the body of a 19-year-old man believed to be the suspect was located near the River Torrens at Athelston.
There's no suspicious circumstances. A report will be prepared for the coroner. Prince Andrew has reached a financial settlement with the woman who was accusing him of sexual assault. There's talk the out-of-court financial settlement is worth up to $10 million. UK correspondent Vincent McAviney has told David and Will it was expected to go to trial.
It seems like this settlement is an acknowledgement by the Duke of York not to any particular wrongdoing explicitly with Virginia Giuffre. He's always denied that, but that was an association that he had that was wrong with the late Jeffrey Epstein.
The Queen appeared in good health during several Zoom meetings overnight. Her Majesty held 2 diplomatic audiences via video link from Windsor Castle. There have been concerns following the time she spent with Prince Charles last week before he tested positive for COVID. The US President says conflict with Russia in Ukraine remains a possibility, but diplomatic efforts are ongoing. Western leaders say there is so far no evidence of a promised withdrawal of Russian troops. Joe Biden is once again warning Moscow of serious consequences if military action is launched.
If Russia attacks Ukraine, it will be met with overwhelming international condemnation. The world will not forget that Russia chose needless death and destruction. Invading Ukraine will prove to be a self-inflicted wound.
Workers and their employers have different ideas about the benefits of working from home, according to a new study. Nine's Madeline McNeil has more.
Almost 3 in 5 employees who took part in the survey believe they're more productive when working remotely. 2/3 of managers disagree, saying there was no difference whether staff were at home or in the office. The results also differ when it comes to the health impacts. The vast majority of workers say they didn't experience any adverse effects while working from home, but more than half of managers said they noticed negative or psychological effects on their staff.
An American satirist, writer and journalist, PJ O'Rourke, has died. He was 74. Now turning to 5AA Sport, and it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with cricket. Australia's continued its dominant summer after cruising to a 6-wicket win against Sri Lanka in its T20 clash in Canberra last night. Kane Richardson was awarded man of the match for his 3 for 21 off 4 overs. Meantime, the Redbacks have slipped back to the bottom of the one-day ladder after suffering a 5-wicket loss against Victoria. Port Adelaide chairman David Koch says the expectations are again for a premiership as the club looks ahead to the 2022 season. Koch telling Rowie he knows supporters are hoping for a big year.
Our members expect us to win a premiership. We embrace that, and that's certainly the goal.
To soccer, and Adelaide United's up to 3rd on the A-League table following a 2-1 win against Melbourne City. Meantime, Manchester City has all but guaranteed its progression into the quarter-finals of the European Champions League after thumping Sporting Lisbon 5-0 in the opening leg of their knockout tie. Elsewhere, Paris Saint-Germain beat Real Madrid 1-0. Australian basketball star Ben Simmons is looking forward to getting back on the court with his new team, the Brooklyn Nets. Simmons has sat out the entire season so far with Philadelphia and has finally got his desired trade away from the 76ers. The 3-time All-Star says he wasn't mentally fit enough to play while in Philly.
That was the major thing for me. It wasn't about the basketball, it wasn't about the money, anything like that. I want to be who I am and get back to, playing basketball at that level and, being myself.
And snowboarder Tess Cody has finished 9th in the big air, missing out on a 2nd Winter Olympic medal. Cody posted the 3rd highest score with her first jump, but failed to land her 2nd and 3rd attempts. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Is your BMW due for service? Receive complimentary vehicle pick-up and drop-off at Glenelg BMW.
Admore for Vale got residual delays from an earlier smash, Sheriff's Road near Brodie Road. Modbury telecommunication works continue Northeast Road near Smart Road, slow going at the moment. And heavy traffic O'Halloran Hill. It's due to those asphalt works on Majors Road near the Southern Expressway. Avoid it if you can. Cameras Franklin Parade, Encounter Bay. Main South Road, O'Halloran Hill. And Mortimer Street's our Karata Park. Try Sportsbet's new Bet with Mates for summer racing. Start your group today. Get on the quaddie together and share the moment. It's the easiest way to group bet. Conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Win your slice of paradise. There's 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
We're heading for a top of 25 today with a shower or 2. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 25 Friday. Right now it's 20 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Don't just get a forklift. Get a Toyota forklift.
When you need a forklift, don't just get a forklift. Get a Toyota forklift. Get the world's #1 forklift brand. Get legendary Toyota reliability. Get world-leading safety and get it from toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage for sales, service and hire.
Get a Toyota forklift.
Feeling the
The burn?
Cheapest chips.
Save cash with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys. Head and Shoulders huge 620ml shampoo or conditioner pump packs, only $6.99. Lynx and Rexona deodorants are hot buy at 2 for $6. 4-pack Dove soap, only $3.79 a pack. And Quilton 36-pack toilet paper, $17.99. That's only 50 cents per roll. Check out this week's catalogue for more hot buys in store and online. Save cash and live cheaper with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes tonight. Behind closed doors coming up very shortly. About once a month we check in with the Police Commissioner, Grant Stevens. He's on leave at the moment, so Acting Police Commissioner Linda Williams joins us. I guess you act in the role of person leading the state as well, Police Commissioner?
Yeah, morning guys. It's actually an unusual situation under the Emergency Management Act that I'm actually the state coordinator during all major emergencies, as is the Commissioner, because I'm general. Like when we have bushfires, we tend to work 12-hour shifts each day. So as the Commissioner clocks off, I clock on and have the same authorities and powers under the Act.
Right. So you're working 24 hours a day now?
He doesn't give you the weekend shifts, does he?
Well, funnily enough, I always seem to get the night shifts.
Yeah, okay. We can talk to him about that if you like.
Oh, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Hey, how does it all work now that the writs are going to be issued this weekend? We're going to enter an election campaign proper.
Yes.
How does it work in terms of the operation of the state when it comes to things like restrictions? We know the decision-making process for the state government largely hamstrung. Some of the big decisions need to be made with both the leader of the opposition and the premier. What happens on things like the transition committee?
Well, because the Emergency Management Act was in place by Parliament prior to it, we just operate as usual. The Commissioner has the authorities to act under the Act and make directions. And he obviously always takes very considered advice through various sources, and at the moment it's been through the COVID Ready Committee. So he'll continue to take advice, look at facts, look at the evidence, and then he'll make his determinations as he's been doing all through the major emergency.
Do you foresee, Commissioner, that over the coming weeks, I'm not sure how long Grant Stevens is off for, but would you imagine you'd be in a position to make any further decisions yourself, obviously with input from the health chiefs, about the lifting of restrictions in the coming week or so?
So the Commissioner, David's only away for a week, and we have said, and he has said previously, that he'll look at the situation every fortnight. So as we monitor the hospitalisation rates and obviously any other outbreaks that are occurring in the community. So it's set to be reviewed again next week. He'll be back on board. All going well, we're hoping that we'll be able to lift some more of the restrictions. That is the plan.
Is there any provision or plan for the opposition leader to be more involved or be briefed in more on those sorts of decisions?
I'll probably have to leave that for the Commissioner, because that's an issue that will come alive on the weekend more than this week. But he'll work through that. Okay. He's certainly aware of the protocols under caretaker, and these are kind of business as usual decisions under the Emergency Management Act.
How is SAPOL coping staffing-wise at the moment? A lot of different industries and professions have been hit by the need to isolate and so forth, and clearly there was some hit, not a huge one, but still some officers are no longer on the beat on account of not being prepared to get vaccinated. Are you guys struggling to the extent that the Police Association seemed to be suggesting you were a few days ago?
No, I would disagree that with the association on that. There was a point, obviously, I think about November 2020, when we did have a lot of police officers diverted at that time to COVID duties. We certainly at that point didn't have the vaccine mandate for our staff. But what we have at the present time, as of yesterday's figures, there's 68 police officers who have chosen not to receive the vaccination, so they're not in the workplace at the present time. We have 58 police officers who are COVID positive, and 50 who are isolating due to being close contacts. But on the flip side, ordinary sick leave is way down on where it normally is, and I think most of the community sense that there are less colds and other sniffles that are going around that are causing people to be ill at the present time. We really manage our annual leave very carefully about how many people are on leave at a given time. And then the other thing is that we've actually recruited in the meantime, because we were aware that this was obviously, at one point stretching resources, but as I said, that was way back. So we recruited extra police officers, about 72, and extra 158 protective security officers. And the other thing that's really helped is we don't have the borders anymore, and it's not mainly police now in the Medi hotels. It's actually the protective security officers. So our staffing levels are pretty good considering everything that's occurring in the community.
Lots of discussion earlier over the course of the last week about Operation Meld Police Commissioner. Could you just get us across where that's been? Because what are we at now? 8 months of operation?
Sure. Yeah, you're correct. MELD started in July last year, and it was addressing criminal offending by a group of known youths, predominantly involving some robberies, thefts and public disorder. And we've done a lot of community engagement with particular communities that these groups come from through the use of our community constables and leaders within their communities. We've obviously had really good cooperation with the community leaders, and we've had significant engagement through sport. We find sport is a good venue to get involved in this particular group, and we obviously engaged our partners in youth justice on a regular basis, including DHS and the Youth Court. There's obviously to date, there are 4 offenders in custody in relation to some really serious matters, and we're focused on the criminality of this group and working with them and their families and the community leaders. What's really concerning within this group is the level of violence between the members themselves. So they actually become quite violent in their own group, and that in and of itself is very concerning to us. I don't think members of the public should be alarmed by that because they seem to perpetrate their violence on each other. But I'm not saying that, but I would implore people to be vigilant when they're out and about. And particularly what we're seeing is if you're selling items online and you go to meet people in public places, just think about where you're going to do the exchange or buy the property or sell your property, because that's it can be a vulnerable time.
To be clear, Commissioner, and certainly not trying to vilify a community, but we should be upfront about it. We are talking about the Sudanese community. Are there particular issues that involve sort of politics or rivalries that stem from their homeland, or are there other complicating issues relating to some of what, by Australian standards, would be extraordinary hardships that they faced coming from such a dysfunctional place?
No, we are talking about the African community here with OpMeld. That is a particular focus. I'm not sure that we can go down to that kind of granular level, but what we can say is that, these are young men, and they're not representative of their entire community.
No, sure.
But they, for some reason, have feuds with each other. They become very personal and quite violent to each other. Our intelligence is not suggesting it's related to any feuds from their homelands. It's more to do with just personality disputes within the group and how they respond.
Yeah, no, complicated stuff.
Very complicated.
Acting Police Commissioner Linda Williams, we've loved having you on the program, and enjoy the rest of your week in the hot seat, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
14 minutes to 9.
Can't stress that enough. I don't think we should go down the path of targeting or making generalisations about that community, because I know, like when I coached my son's school footy team for 4 years, there were Sudanese kids who were part of that team, terrific kids. You think about, in fact, one of the kids I'm talking about is a relative of the Adelaide United player, Sudanese background.
One of the Toure's brothers?
Yeah.
Hang on, no. How old? Jim's age?
Yeah.
So it might be Nestor Irukunda, who's 15?
Yeah. But, and the model as well, who's doing terrific work, the beautiful young woman. So, I know it's become a huge issue in Melbourne and everyone's been jumping all over it, but, we don't want to generalise, do we?
Of course not. 13 minutes to 9, Behind Closed Doors is coming up in just a moment. We'll get to some more of your texts on the Telstra Store Matt Barker text line as well, 044808 1395. But first, it's time to check traffic. A new and independent home for BMW now open on Brighton Road. You can visit Glenelg BMW today.
Thanks, Will. Dry Creek got a smash on the Salisbury Highway heading outbound. It's near the wetlands there. More for Vale, residual delays from an earlier smash, Sheriff's Road near Brodie Road. Modbury, telecommunication works on North East Road near Smart Road is slowing things up. And O'Halloran Hill got asphalt works on Majors Road near the Southern Expressway. Very heavy going at the moment. Look out for a camera at Doothie Street, Malvern. Delicious 100% clean Mexican food. Enjoy a Guzmani Gomez burrito or bowl for only $9.90. Yes, just $9.90 when you order through the GYG app. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Right now, SA Ambulance Service has never been busier.
000 ambulance emergency.
So I was fishing on a boat and the hook is stuck in my nose.
But every day, 000 receives more and more trivial calls,
My husband fell down and he's broken his big toe.
stopping them from getting to the real emergencies.
I've got a really bad jaw pain from brushing my teeth too hard.
For non-emergencies, visit the Health Direct website and save 000 for when it matters.
Building amazing homes is important to Beechwood Homes, and so is the environment. So when you build with Beechwood, you're building a better environment for our kids and grandkids. Around 70% of scrap materials from every Beechwood home is recycled. Bricks, rubble, timber, gyprock and steel, none of it goes to landfill. It's all sorted and recycled. So life really is good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Take a look at the stunning Beechwood display home in Blackwood Park.
Oh, now this is good. Hyundai Nailsworth, these guys know what they're doing. They don't think a test drive is good enough for you. They'd rather you took a life drive. Now, this is what I did. I went out there and Aaron and the rest of the team, they lined me up with a Palisade. You can pick any car you like and don't just drive it around the block and come back and go, yeah, here's 40 grand. Actually live life like you normally would in it. What that means is you pick the kids up from school, go shopping. I actually went up to Summertown, which was nice. Show it off to the family, make sure it fits under the carport, because that's what life is. Hyundai Nailsworth, they're the only dealers in SA that strictly sell brand new Hyundais, including the Palisade, the aforementioned excellent vehicle. It's the ultimate getaway car for growing families. It's got all the safety features you need and a lovely big interior available with 7 or 8 seats. So get in there to Hyundai Nailsworth and take a life drive only at Hyundai Nailsworth, 147 Main North Road, Nailsworth.
A day out at the movies just got better. Come to Wallace Cinema and see movies like they should be seen on the big screen. Hear movies like they should be heard in Quake sound and taste candy bar prices like you have never seen. With Choc Tops handmade with Golden North ice cream, Fruit Chocks, Fluorio milk and so much more. Wallace Family Values, bringing value to your family. Mitcham, Mount Barker, Noarlunga and Mainline Drive-In. Wallace.com.au.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Gliderol Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 minutes to 9, behind closed doors coming up in just a moment. We were just chatting during the break. News has just come through. PJ O'Rourke has died, the legendary editor of National Lampoon, journalist, and someone that you were just saying you've spoken to before.
Interviewed him at Chester Cellars in 1989 for the Adelaide University student newspaper On D. He had just released, I think, his second book, which was called Holidays in Hell. His first book is superb, and it's almost like his manifesto, Republican Party Reptile. He's like a crazy out there economic conservative, but mad, let it rip, social,
libertarian,
yeah. Small government,
yep,
pro guns, anti-seatbelt laws, you name it. Like,
yep.
He's as mad as a gut snake. He started off life as a Maoist, and he tells this great story in Republican Party Reptile when he was a young student radical, because he came from a long line of Republicans. And he was talking to his elderly grandmother, who's a massive Republican, and she said, "Oh, PJ, you're sounding like you're becoming a bit of a radical." And he said, "I'm a Maoist." And she said, "Well, that's all right, as long as you're not a Democrat." But he said that he grew out of socialism when he realised that it meant he'd have to give his golf clubs to a family in Zaire, and that sort of underpinned his ethos. He wrote a terrific essay in one of his books about Australia, and he called Australia an example of good socialism. And he said that things like Medicare actually made sense.
Yep.
So he very much in the moderate stream of the Republican Party, but as funny as a fit. His Holidays in Hell books are great, where he goes to Nicaragua and all these other total dumps and writes incredibly rude things about them. But he's a terrifically funny bloke.
There is tributes coming on social media, as you might well imagine. The National Review editor Richard Brookshire wrote, PJ O'Rourke and I sat together at the 1988 GOP convention, that's the Republican Party convention, when Bush promised the death penalty for drug kingpins. PJ asked, even if the drugs are good and the prices are fair? Rest in peace. 7 minutes to 9. It's time for Behind Closed Doors, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions. They're looking for subcontract drivers right now. Call 13 13 64. That's 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed...
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
And welcome back to 5AA Breakfast. And David Penberthy, welcome back to you too.
Yeah, g'day Will, how you going?
I'm really well, David.
Foie gras.
And coming up in the next half hour, we'll be talking to the...
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, what is it, Alfred?
A call for you, sir, on the special telephone.
All right, thanks, Alfred.
You're welcome, sir.
Hello?
Is that you, Bat Pembo?
It sure is, Commissioner.
Oh, thank goodness, Bat Pembo. And is the boy Bunder there with you?
You mean the boy wonder?
Oh, yes, the boy wonder.
Yeah, Will's here.
Oh, thank goodness, Bat Pembo.
Why, what's up?
Well, it seems there are still people trying to snort across the beaker.
What?
Oh, sorry, I mean sneak across the border.
All right.
I think one of them might have been the member for Flint, Nicole Boothby.
Yeah, all right. I made one simple spoonerism yesterday. There's no need to rub it in.
Holy paking the tiss out of you, Bat Pembo.
Oh, don't you start.
Sorry, Pet Bambo.
Oh, listen.
Well, I'd better let you go, Bat Pembo. You've probably got another hard-hitting musical to write for the ass paper.
Oh, look, it's not clever just highlighting a mistake.
Oh, but it's the pun fart.
It's...
I mean the fun part.
Holy, better watch out, Commissioner, or Bat Pembo might call us a pair of dead hicks.
Oh, that's the point. I'd get them both.
What?
Better go, Bat Pembo.
Oh, that'd be right.
I will knee you both 6 times.
Oh, kiss off, Commissioner.
What was the one yesterday?
I'm trying to remember what it was. What was it? A spoonerism. We switched the words around.
We have to listen back to the podcast now. 5 to 9, Ian in Morpeth Vale's called in. Morning to you, Ian.
Yes, g'day guys. I just rang up to say, unfortunately, I got stuck behind it for a while, but a B-double is broken down, turning left off of Churchill Road onto Grand Junction Road.
Oh.
So that whole thing's blocked off and is causing a huge traffic pile-up on Churchill Road and Grand Junction Road intersection.
So you're through it now, Ian, are you saying?
Yeah, so because it happened right in front of me, so I missed the whole light change and nothing happened. And then the truck that was behind him pulled out and has to actually, you've got to turn left onto the road, avoid that left bit. But because there's so many cars wanting to turn left and go straight on, because he's blocked that whole lane off there, is just causing everything to pile up behind it.
Sounds like a bit of a shambles,
Yeah,
mate.
it does, Ian. Thank you for that, mate. We really appreciate Ian, anyone who contributes to the program with their what they've seen out in the roads in the morning, or indeed, data on what was in their rain gauge. Like Christine gave us a little bit of areas. We were trying to measure the mist.
0.3.
So the weather, that can be the Weather Bureau's challenge after 9 o'clock this morning.
You want to be quick getting out to check it. Evaporate while you're on the way.
Exactly right.
Bit like that microphone in front of you, Will.
I just made my microphone explode.
We need a roadie in here.
That's
who can run in and just gaffer tape things back together for us.
That's never happened before. All right, let's do a headline. What do you think?
Yeah. No sweat. Randy Andy's handy get out of jail free card. No sweat.
We'll never know now.
I know.
We wanted to see whether he sweat on the stand.
Yeah. You want to sweat and beads, sweat and bullets under hours of fiery cross-examination.
One of many unanswered mysteries.
It's that easy, folks. If you're in strife, just sell one of your ski lodges.
Exactly right. That's the lesson of today's program. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 6.